This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they're kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
You got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans. That's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd, and here with me I have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Just chilling. Just been around the house, setting a bunch of audio and streaming and wireless shit up, and trying to figure all this up. I bought myself an Elgato game capture card, so going to be doing some streams and all that. And I actually got an interview I'm doing tomorrow. I'm recording this Monday night, but I will be live on the Everything Pro Wrestling podcast hosted by Conrad, and he's going to be interviewing me about some music stuff, and we're going to be talking some wrestling too. So it's going to be on 8 o'clock on YouTube. I'll send the link out if y'all want to, come check it out and ask any questions while in the chat. I'm going to be talking about a lot of the, music stuff more than the wrestling, but there will be some of that in there too. Okay, that's what's up. So when did this come about? Why you ain't tell your boy before now? Why am I finding this out, at the same time or a couple hours before by the time I edit this shit and put it up before the listeners? Yeah,
you don't fuck with your boy no more?
For like a week. No, you wildin'. No, I just forgot to mention, but yeah. So it's gonna be tomorrow. So tune in. I'm gonna try to be entertaining.
All right then. Okay, so I'll check it out. So.
Got a lot to talk about.
Yeah. We all, because I was thinking to myself, there's not much to talk about. There's Tag League for Stardom. We have the Wednesday shows we normally do, but that's really it. And then this week, some things happen. I guess we want to start off with, do you want to go with, Kenny and the Observer Hall of Fame first, or you want to go with Zelina?
I thought we was going to talk about JT.
Oh, God.
I'm kidding. We ain't got to talk about JT.
I don't really... You gotta keep in mind, how much City Girls have you listened to?
I've heard a few songs.
That's where I kind of where I'm
a couple of the videos.
I've never even seen the videos, so I didn't even know what they look like. I only heard the songs.
You might want to do that at some point. Not gonna lie. They have a song with Doja Cat you can check out.
With who?
With Doja Cat.
When was that released?
I believe it was over the summer. That was the
So this is after she was showing. This is after she was caught showing feet in Rachel chat rooms.
Yes, I will send you what you need to see.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's. All right, so I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I skipped over the non wrestling related thing that we had mentioned. Versus,
much in the way that Fab and Jada was up in my lane. We've got the antithesis here coming up.
The antithesis? Yeah. I figured the antithesis of Jadakiss and Fabs would be like Sinead O'Connor or some, white indie rock band, but okay, if you say so. Yeah. we are getting a Trap Hall of Fame, another Trap Hall of Fame versus between Young Jeezy and Gucci Mane. I don't know how to feel about this because I feel, if I had to choose between these two, I'm taking the first 3 Jeezy albums. No knock against Gucci because, I love the State vs. Roderick Davis album. But for me, I'm taking the first 3 Jeezy albums, Running Away. And I think it's a mismatch, but I think it's going to be a fun ass time. And given their beef over at this point decades or decade and a half, I wonder how this is going to go because you heard some of the talk from the T.I. interview with Jeezy from a few months ago. It's a real love-hate, hard feelings, things not being forgiven type of relationship between those two. So I'm even surprised to even hear about this actually happening.
Yeah. So in preparation for the potential Jeezy T.I. battle, I've been studying the Young Jeezy catalog quite a bit, and man, that guy just had a lot of songs that just grab you by the throat. It's just oh my god! When they play that new Jeezy, all the dope boys go crazy. Put that on in your car. Yeah. My god! And you forget how dope the Recession was. Yeah. Then stuff like Jeezy like to drink, Jeezy like to smoke. It's all the trap beats and everything you're hearing they're literally just the architect for all of them were Young Jeezy's first 3 albums. So and some of those beats were even more advanced and some of the stuff we hear now that isn't as the
lo-fi this beats, stuff actually was this stuff was actually these shits were actually anthems, these things that had so much energy into them. You play Trap Star and you compare that to whatever is the hot quote unquote trap record going on right now, and it just feels different. No disrespect, I'm not even necessarily saying that one is better than the other. I'm just saying it just feels different. Jeezy put together, depending on how you feel about Recession, he put together, I won't even go to classic, he put together 3 bangers, absolute total undisputed bangers that we talk about classics, and are they defined by them being something you just play and they transcend the era, or are they just basically the symbols, the vanguard of the era? And those Jeezy albums between from 05 through 08, absolutely.
And the mixtapes.
We don't even get into the mix. I'm not even getting to Trap or Die or The Streets Is Watching or any of them other Gangsta Grill stuff. Can't Ban a Snowman. Because, you could, you could go play, You Dig off Can't Ban a Snowman. That shit's rocking, right?
Look,
but
I say all that to say this. I don't know what Gucci Mane about to do, when I'm the realest nigga in it, you already know. When that comes on, what do? You just gotta take the L, don't you?
You gotta remember Jeezy, Gucci Mane has the advantage of he's been more relevant in the last decade than, 5 years in particular, especially since he's gotten out with all the features from different people. So he has a lot of the recency bias working in his favor. So it's going to be closer than you would suspect. As a person that was aware from So Icy to now, as a person that was aware of all of that music.
Yeah. It
doesn't seem that close to me, even though there is some Gucci stuff I absolutely love, Lemonade. I love some dumb Gucci. So Go Ahead is incredible. Is You Rolling? Bitch, I Might Be. He has stuff, right? He absolutely does. Spotlight. What's the song he had with Cameron that that Chandre did? Whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm
not sure.
He has Cushion's My Cologne. He has a bunch of stuff. he is absolutely a whatever Southern Rap Hall of Famer first ballot guy. That's not the problem. The problem is he's going up against a guy that just has his first 3 years was just some unrivaled or not close to unrivaled shit. Like aside from the Mount Olympus, right? Unless we're talking about like the Mount Olympus of Southern rap music, nobody has 3 albums coming out the gate as hard as Jeezy did. It's just what it is. And he was so undeniable that like at the time when he first came out, I was like, I cannot get with this. This is some of the worst rap I had ever heard. I can't believe people listen to this. And the shit by the time we got the Can't Ban a Snowman, I was like, all right, I give up. He's beating me to death with bangers. I can't deny this. I can't deny this. I fundamentally was like, I cannot rock with somebody that was like that much of a nursery rhyme ass rapper. But then like, he also improved as a lyricist as time went by too. And there's like, you saw how he put subject matter with his hooks to make coherent songs. It was like, he has a structure. He's super charismatic. He has an incredible, one of the all-time greatest ears for beats ever. What? Because I don't like him, how dope of a lyricist he is, because he's not fucking Nas. So it was, I had to let the shit go. Like, I'm sorry. Like, he doesn't rap like Pusha T or Joe Budden. That's fine. You don't have to. He does all these other things better than these guys do. And make up for that shortcoming.
For me, this feels like this is gonna be a whack-a-mole, a beat 'em down. Like Gucci gonna try something, and Jeezy is gonna have the answer every single time. I feel like I've never got into the Gucci Mane thing. It don't seem like it was aimed at me, to put it nicely,
Oh, man.
Yeah, like you are a feature rapper. Play your features and hope to survive.
That is what he's gonna have to survive on. Cause really, I mean, he has 2 albums that, he could survive on, and then the features. But the problem is, like, what happens when Jeezy plays Put On? Or, what happens when Jeezy plays My President Is Black?
That's gonna hit right now too.
Right. Like it means even more now than it did then. Like in a way that's like, you remember the video he had. I'm sorry, my phone's vibrating. I didn't put it on vibrate, but like in a way that like you don't even think about like, oh yeah, I forgot he had John Lewis in that music video. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that, yeah. So it's gonna be a hard day. I don't know if they're gonna come out on some competition thing or they're gonna come out on some, it's for what T.I. was working on, the Trap of Fame museum. Because if so,
I think We Are the World shit. Yeah. I want the smoke. I'm ready for him to play. Between me and you, I think the boy kind of slow. That's what I want to hear. But that 24 greater than 23, I'm trying to hear Stay Strapped.
Oh my God.
Your jewelry looked like it came from the middle of the mall. I'm an affiliate. Hitmen, run it back. Yeah. You play some Get Your Mind Right. Like,
yeah.
Man.
He has so many. Yeah. Like for this, he's well equipped for this. Like, I didn't think that he could stand at the T.I., but he can absolutely stand it. But like, I feel like the gap, he's closer to grab, he's closer to catching and hawking down T.I. than Gucci is to hawking down Jeezy, in my opinion. So, we'll see how this goes. Like, obviously it comes down to, selection and all that sorts of things, but.
Right.
If Jeezy just sticks to them to like that 2004 through 2000, let's say 9 era, it's gonna be a real rough day. Like all them shit's gonna feel like gut punches. All them shit's gonna feel
all them beats gonna be hard, and it's all just gonna be. He's gonna be taking you somewhere else.
Bro, what? Like he can
bygone era.
He can fuck around and play like the Fabulous shit. The Do the Damn thing, and that shit will still hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. He can mess around and play
he can
show
play
versatility
I
and play
seen it all. Like if he want to do something, he can play seen it all. Like with Jay, on there.
He can go, like, he can play Maybach music, stuff. He could, like the one he was on, I think he was on Maybach Music 3 with, T.I. So, he could also go into other bands. He could play Dreaming, you know what I'm saying? He could play, Soul Survivor. Like, Gucci doesn't really have that kind of stuff. Like, he can go into different pockets, be like, alright, well, that's cool, you just played your 14th Dope Dylan song. How about this?
Correct.
So
he can play Geeked Up. I'm high the motherfucker right now.
Play
that. Like, I represent the whole Atlanta. Like we out here, we got people on the track.
I represent the whole Atlanta. I'm from South Carolina.
The whole Atlanta.
That could hurt. That would hurt so much. I'm interested to hear from Alex, as he's been living there for over a year now. So I'm interested to see what the locals feel about it, because like, Gucci's influenced the culture more than for the youth anyway, with rappers that are on now, than Jeezy has. So it's gonna be there on the ground. It's gonna be a lot closer than even I'm anticipating, even while accounting for that. But it's me interested to see. Are you gonna watch it live, or you gonna check it out?
Jeezy plays "I Got Money," James.
Well, that's just not fair. Like, what happens when he starts playing the tune beats he has? Like, yes, I understand. Like, I'm with you. He does. I understand. Like, yes, like, I understand the gigantic difference between a DJ tune track and a nitty beat. I understand. I get it. I'm with you. I get it. But
Gucci better bring all his Zaytoven songs, but like the beats that Zaytoven gave him, like, I feel like Zaytoven was like holding back. Like,
dude, do you know how blown I was when I found that man could play keys after hearing like what them songs were and the, like, places he were landing on people?
Yeah,
like, I was like, I can't believe that this dude.
Like, we hear of rappers dumbing down their lyrics, but like, we talking about dumbing down your production, like. Like, it's ridiculous. This man is unquestionably one of the most talented producers to ever enter the rap game, any kind of music or whatever. Yeah, and like, you start like seeing like the actual stuff like that he puts out, and it's like, oh, right, it's a mind fuck. You got way more. Yeah, like it is a mind fuck. But. One other thing, music, kind of off topic, but Russ, you talk about Atlanta now. This man's at another level right now. He brought back Rap City the Basement. He basically did it as a music video with Big Tigger in it and Ab Soul. 6 minutes of bars, him and Ab Soul. EP drops tonight. Looks like it's called Chomp. Straight bars the whole time. He's got Benny Butcher on the album. He's got Busta Rhymes on there. He's got Black Thought on there. Ab-Soul. He's got a couple other people, if I'm not mistaken, but it looks incredible. So, like, the only like, you think about, like, all right, who are some of the people you go and grab, that are, like, Rap Hall of Famers, to go hop on a freestyle, project? And, like, the ones that come to mind will be Black Thought, Snoop, Busta, and probably Common. Those probably they'll be like the ones that immediately come to mind, right? And he has two of them, so it's like I'm sure it's a good album. Like, I've never really checked any of Russ's stuff. I know you love him, but swear by him. Like, yeah, but it just I just never. Ninth Wonder beat as well as the Alchemist beat on there too, and I think and a Premier beat and like his own. So, but I would definitely check out that video that he dropped with Ab-Soul, because it's like Big Tigger's Rap City Basement. They start and the music's playing out loud like it's the actual freestyle that they're about to do. And Big Tigger's doing this freestyle or whatever, and then he stops, and basically it cuts to the video portion, and all the like HD cameras come in, like, and he starts like, doing whatever. But yeah, that shit was like, I've been listening to that shit since Thursday, pretty much nonstop. Okay, so that comes out tonight at midnight. I will be staying up. All right, so I guess we're done for the music portion of the show.
and we move over to wrestling. So do you want to get to the Observer Hall of Fame entrance or inductees, or do you want to get to Zelina Vega first?
Let's do Zelina first, because okay. I need to build up to this big victory lap we about to
victory lap for somebody in the Hall of Fame maybe a couple years before they maybe should have, even though we all know he was going in regardless. Okay, sure. So the gist of the story, from what I can gather, because I have not followed any news from the Observer or the Torch or blah 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 from the Work Culture, any news outlets, but Zelina Vega has been terminated from her contract with WWE. They wish her the best in her future endeavors, and this seems to stem from the third-party websites where people, so basically like the Twitches of the world, OnlyFans of the world, that sort of thing, where WWE wants you to, if you're signed to WWE as talent, get rid of all of that sorts of stuff so that they can eventually have their own Twitch sort of thing and then put you under their banner and pay you. I believe that Zelina Vega was making more money off of those sorts of activities than she was from her actual WWE contract, and there lies the rift there. That's kind of similar to when it comes to like these superstar NBA players, like first team, like LeBrons, the Kyries, the Steph Currys of the world, Giannis's, Durant's, where it's like, I make more money per year off my shoe deal. Like anything happens, like I'm going to listen to Nike. I don't give a fuck what you think. I don't know who's the Frank Vogel, Mike Budenholzer, Steve Kerr. I'm sorry. Like, I make $70 million for these people. I'm making $40 million here. I'm sorry. I only have this much. I can get you fired if I wanted to. But anyway, so she, I believe wisely, seeing that there's another competitor around, and there are places where she won't be out of a job for long. She basically stood her ground, said, I'm not budging, I'm not coming off my number one money making source, and she was let go. So, where do you
apparently the Zelina Vega OnlyFans was going for $30 a month on the subscription, and
she was getting that 30. Please believe.
Yes. Yeah. She was getting paid, y'all. This makes you start thinking about the contracts that are in WWE, the wide disparity from top stars to lower card people to women, to contracts that were signed before AEW started, contracts that were signed after AEW started. So there's a lot of tiers to think about. Now I want you guys to think about which tier Zelina Vega might have been on. Right. And then thinking about, there's no house shows. Yep. There's no like extra other ways to make money. So it comes down to WWE trying to control people again, which WWE feels they have the right to. Like, hey, we've put, this amount of money in marketing behind this name, and you're using, whatever. And they feel like they should get a piece of that. Well, Zelina feels like they shouldn't. So, or Thea Trinidad, her real name, feels like, no, you shouldn't. So I can't really blame both sides on this one, because WWE has established that they will, when given the opportunity to be fuck niggas, they will be fuck niggas. And Zelina, shockingly, unlike a Paige, unlike, some other wrestlers, or like, you know what? I'm good. I'll do this. Yeah, my profile might dip because I'm not in the WWE platform anymore. However, these followers, they just don't unfollow me. I just don't disappear. Like, so,
and she's in a situation where she's probably getting paid so little that it's like a move somewhere else won't be much of a difference, or hell, maybe she might make more for all we know. Who knows?
Look, maybe she was like, I found a way out.
That's the thing that's so crazy about it, is like, all it would have took would have been like 5 of the right people to be like, no, I want my shit, and then people like, oh, well, okay, because they're not going to let no AJ Styles go over this,
right? And also think about the difference between an AJ Styles and a Zelina Vega,
right?
As far as like contract wise, and obviously there should be a difference. Like, AJ was a top star for a long time, and Zelina's working a manager role primarily, but
And she's great at it. It's just she's been underutilized her whole time. Her and him, that whole entire act.
Yeah, but it's not going to hurt AJ Styles to turn in his Twitch.
Yep.
As much as it would her.
Right.
So,
and he's in retirement right now, more or less.
Yeah. So he's like, well, I just got to keep the bag coming in. That's all I got to do. Go in the Hall of Fame in a couple years and then, lay it down.
Yep.
And then I'll start the shit back up.
Yeah. Stack. He's stupid. So look, I got to get enough money to stack up to get these kids to college. I got 4 of them. That shit gonna cost.
Hey, look, you see him tatted on me. So.
Right.
I don't know where she'll land, but I feel like every company probably should kick the tire on it just to see what's going on.
Yeah, just for the talking ability alone. I ain't concerned about Netsuka making her into a wrestler, even though she had that match with Asuka just a couple months ago, or like a month and a half ago, whatever else. That was better than I thought it was going to be, but still, she ain't even got to do that. You can bring her in just as a manager alone, and the checks would be worth it.
Come manage Pentagon Jr.
Oh, good God. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome if she came in and managed the Lucha Bros. Yeah, we'll get to Dynamite later, but it's like, look, y'all go out there and have your beef. The brothers are going to reconnect and, we're going to do our thing. But, so, yeah, I just, I think that's a good place to perspective to look at it as look, WWE is trying to do this and that's been their thing. Sorry.
And they're trying to start their own Twitch stuff too.
Right. That's what we all, or at least we all think that's coming. I don't know if that's for sure coming. It's come on now, what else are they gonna do, right? They need to take Big E's cameo money away. He's banking off that shit. So, and that's another thing. Another site I didn't mention, the cameo is another one. I was about to say tout. but yeah, it's understandable that this is, look, it's unfortunate that's how they're going about it, but that's how they're going about it, and it stinks. It makes me feel bad about or even worse about the future considerations for Andrade or Garza or Humberto, but
right, Alistair. Because there's a report that he wanted to go back to NXT, and they were like, no.
Yeah, so. I heard about that. I mean, look what they got him doing. They protected him without pushing him for a year. And then, he came out, he got his fucking eyeball taken out. And then now he's a heel. Last I remember is he was doing something with Kevin Owens. I have yet to see them on pay-per-view, and that was months ago. That was around SummerSlam. I haven't seen him on pay-per-view at all. So, I don't know. I don't know what he's doing, but he's another one. He seems like another person that was you were pushed to the moon in NXT. You did great in NXT. They brought him in with the Ricochet tag team. They broke that shit up for no fucking reason, and then they immediately botched Ricochet, and then they waited a year and they decided just to go ahead and drop the Alistair pack on you. So, I really hate when they do to NXT wrestlers, but our NXT call-ups. The success rate is so unbelievably mind-bogglingly low that it's either A, the person that is bringing these people in is a moron, or is past the peak and is washed, or they're idiots because they're doing developmental wrong, because they're clearly not setting these people up for success. And the numbers are so overwhelmingly staggering that a failure that it can't be that nobody is this can't be the success rate of the NBA draft. It can't be. We're oh yeah, there are going to be 3 guys that are going to be 7 guys out of a class that can be rotation players in the NBA. That can't be the case.
Oh, funny thing,
that keep getting fucked up, and it's impossible.
Funny thing you mentioned that.
People have been wrestling everywhere.
Funny thing you mentioned that. A lot of those, I pulled out WWE 2K18 over the weekend, right, and popped it in, and I was going through some of the things wow, this person's not here anymore. This person's not here anymore, and it's great NXT acts that got shunted in the tag teams it seemed like it was almost like a waiting room for them to be fired. Essentially, like the main roster, like tag team divisions, like Anderson Gallows aren't there anymore. Victor and Connor from the Ascension.
Yep.
There's a bunch more. Eric Young from Sanity.
DOA.
Who?
I mean AOP. I said DOA.
AOP. Yes, they were there. There was another team. It was Jordan and Gable, and it was like, well, Jordan, got the injury, but what's happened with Gable since? So it's like, it was like it's this waiting room. The Revival, like they're gone. Like
TM,
TM61.
Yeah, like one of them's on, and one of them is Slapjack or whatever, or T-Bar, and the other one's back in New Japan.
Yeah. So
it's wild, bro. It's really
tough times. Times. But
yeah, I mean, you look, you like, all right, so McIntyre, Asuka, the Horsewomen, Samoa Joe when he was healthy. That I don't know if I mentioned Kevin Owens or not, but like, look around, it's like, is Bobby Roode still with us?
I believe he is, but he's just holding on.
Yeah, like Nakamura, he's been a multiple time tag champ. He's won the U.S. belt. He's been Intercontinental champion, but he's a lackey right now for Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is after, you know how good Sami Zayn has to be able to survive what he survived over these past 5 years of just inept booking and being fucked with, and also with being sidelined with injury, for him to like now be doing good stuff, or at times now. I don't know if it's just because of stubbornness and it's like, fine. I know he's good, but I don't like him, but fine, I'll finally give him a shot. It's crazy. It's really crazy. It's like, all these people are clearly talented because we've seen them be talented on your own fucking network. And then when you get it to this fucking guy who's washed, and he just messes up everything. Yeah. Mr. Magoo shit, like, just make sure he stays out of like the kitchen before he fucks up the meal.
Incredible.
It was great how we turned this Zelina Vega thing into like, oh yeah, everybody gets fucked up in it from NXT. Yeah, we've had this conversation many times. On to more positive things, I guess. The Observer Hall of Fame Class 2020 has been released. Last week, right?
Yeah, Friday it came out.
Friday. Okay. People, I know there's 4 people that made it, which, but the only 2 that I know of are Kenny Omega and Jun Akiyama. So, who are the other 2?
Medico Asino of Mexico and Karloff Lagarde. I have never seen those guys. I think Medico Asino was a star in Mexico, but he died in 1960 at the age of 39. And he was a big star. Just quickly scanning the paragraphs, he worked for EMLL, which is CMLL now. Right. And basically that Mexico category got cleared out last year with Ultimo Guerrero going in, Viano 3, Dr. Wagner, Los Misioneros, De La Muerte. They were in, so what happened was new names were needed, and what happened was a lot of people started diving into research and studying him and determined this guy was a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. And 60 years after his death, he became a rare first ballot Hall of Famer. So it was just a weird story on how a strong candidate got overlooked for years and years and years. As far as Karloff Lagarde, I am not sure. I'm going through it here. He was an NWA World Champion more times than any wrestler in history, and was one half of one of the most famous tag teams in Lucha Libre history, Los Rebeldes. So, but yeah. I didn't watch any of those guys, obviously, but I have watched the Jun Akiyama match a time or two, and he was a great wrestler. He's a guy that's been around. They say he was literally great from his first match, but there was something that just kept him out for a long time. for one reason or another, and he finally, got over the bar here.
Well, I think it's because of, the people he was around, right? Like, he was, with the Four Pillars, then he was moved over to Noah, and then, like, Kibashi, you're always comparing and contrasting with Kibashi, even though, like, everybody that ever heard that, like, watched that era that I've talked to, they always mention Junior Akiyama in a level of, like, that dude it makes me believe that, yes, that dude is a Hall of Famer. I've only seen him wrestle one time, but, like, I've seen enough All Japan match from the 90s and enough Kibashi to know that, like, yeah, if you were someone that was on that peer list, you're probably a fucking Observer Hall of Famer. as far as at least from the work perspective, right? Like, he's from that era where, like, drawing is such in championships and accomplishments, kayfabe accomplishments might mean so much in main events and that sort of thing. So, like, that, I'm sure that also got in the way for his, for what he's done. But, yeah, man, like, we're going to have to, adjust this as time goes by, because otherwise nobody's getting in, and that would be stupid.
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
Very, very little people will get in, and that would be stupid.
Later, but the last if you guys want to check out a dope Junior Akiyama match, 2004, him versus Kenta Kobashi, and that match is incredible. It's on YouTube. You can log in and watch it. I watched it earlier this year, and just I'm assuming it's on that long ass playlist. I believe it is. If not, it may be available as a standalone too. So, and then the other Hall of Famer, it looks like he got tied for. So there was 64, 61, 61. One of the 61s, Kenny Omega, out of the Japan region. Basically, him and Jun Akiyama were the only two. Kenny gets in, and I was very happy to see that. And after I believe he went on the ballot in 2018, started with 49%, went up to 53 last year, and then got in with 61% this year. I love it, because it was this guy is a part of this special era that I talked about right at the top, and Okada's going on the ballot next year, and I assume he's getting in. Tanahashi's already in.
Let's stop right now. If Okada doesn't get in on the first ballot next year, they might as well fold the whole fucking thing up and throw it in the river like a murder weapon. Do you disagree with that?
I mean, I would think he would be in, like, because
if he can't get on the first ballot, who the fuck can besides, like, The Rock?
Yeah.
What the fuck? It's like, he's only the guy that's on pace to be the greatest wrestler ever. Don't worry about it. Like, yeah, he'll get in eventually, that guy, even though he already has, like, from 2012 or 13 to now, he already has a resume as good as people that are already in the Hall of Fame.
I look at this thing like, I know there's been a point of contention of, like, and it's funny who they bring it out for, and who they don't. This person's still active, not want to vote for them, while they're still going.
It's intellectually lazy.
People shouldn't go on when they're 35, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, come on, man.
Why?
Like,
what's a good reason for that?
This is just the reason. They'd be like, there's so much more to go. I'm like, not really. Like,
okay, because the thing is this, right? If you already have a Hall of Fame level career, we don't give a fuck what you do. You can fall off like bad dope.
Yeah, like, I figure if Kenny Omega dropped dead tomorrow, like, he's going in the Hall of Fame. So what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
So
and I mean, like, if you want to compare it to, like, a actual real live Hall of Fame, then I would suggest you get an actual fucking office space for it. But this is a newsletter. Like, so I'm not going to be like these hollowed halls when there ain't no fucking halls. So for me, it's like, Kenny Omega is one of the handful of best in-ring professional wrestlers I've ever seen in my life. He's been at a certain level, for what, from the 2016 G1 until you could arguably say still now, right?
Yeah.
So what is there to discuss here? Like, If it like
and you want to add stuff in like his business with DDT, selling out Budokan Hall multiple times.
Yeah.
You want to talk about basically having the same drawing record as the beloved Tetsuya Naito, who did not get in. As always, Naito a little bit behind Kenny, but that's okay.
What was his percentage?
What's up?
What was his percentage?
Naito's percentage was. Let me go down here and find it.
You asshole! You didn't have to. You didn't have to say that. You didn't have to say that.
38%. And up 2% from last year's 36. So it seems like this Tokyo Dome didn't really help him too much, and this horrible year did not help him too much.
He needs to reverse the clock to 2017 in this bitch. Like he needs some more 2017s to
I want to get into some of those things later, but like back to Kenny, like he's got the drawing, he's got business in Japan, he's got business in the United States, holding building records in New York, I believe it's Schenectady. That's a famous WWE building where he wrestled Rey Fenix. Two big sellout matches. What up?
You mean Schenectady?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, some of those like Poughkeepsie, like some of those upstate New York towns are just like weird to pronounce, and
right.
Yeah, it's like some of those Massachusetts names like was it Worcester? When it's spelled like Worcester, like
it's like Worcester.
Yeah, that's what it is. Actually, Worcester. Yeah, it's like Yep. Good luck. Good luck.
Famous WWF building they've been running since the Hogan era. Kenny and Rey Fenix like shattered the fucking record. Cow Palace holds the building record there. Match with Cody, and that was a rematch from what they did in New Orleans. You're talking about several pay-per-views main evented with 100,000 in AEW now.
You can talk about the MSG show that the G1 Supercard, even though like that sold off the strength of the Elite being there. They just didn't show up.
Right.
People got their tickets early.
And then you talk about great matches, like as James said, from 2016 forward, that he's on an all-time pace, and like I don't understand like the cut down of this guy that's been going on for years and years and years. He just bothers people like no one before him and maybe after.
Like serious question, right? From these last 5 years, so from 2016 to now, aside from Ishii and Okada, does anybody even have a case for having more great matches than him?
Maybe you want to throw in Kota Ibushi, but I know Ibushi had a year where I believe he was injured, so I don't know in that time period how well he stacks up. However, when they were together, I mean, Kenny was signed to New Japan and Ibushi wasn't. Kenny was a bigger guy, so I don't know, like. And it's played out in this voting, like with the four amongst them. It was Ishii, Ibushi, Naito, and Kenny. It's strange. From, everything you always hear, like, Ibushi needed to get away, like, from Kenny. This was holding him back. Ibushi got less of the vote this year than he did last year, which was strange.
Well, that's also because of Gato's shitty booking this year. Yeah. Or not shitty booking, but preposterous booking this year, where he's like, who is he getting over besides people that will never get over?
I saw a tweet that was trying to cut Kenny's down with in comparison to Tetsuya Naito, and it was saying they were both Hall of Famers, but then the Dome drawing what was brought up versus Okada, and it was like, well, Kenny did this number and then Naito did this number, but it seemed like they didn't take into account that New Japan had been growing steadily from Wrestle Kingdom 11 to 12 to 13.
Right. That's another thing for me when it comes to New Japan, when they're talking about like Naito, Okada, Tanahashi, Omega, Ibushi, AJ, if you want to throw him in there too, or Nakamura as well, as like Shibata. You talk about that whole this run that we've had, and you talk about like this person drew this, and this. It's like, nah, like, yes, Naito has sold more merch, but like, you could put any of these people I just named together and throw them out. If it's a relatively fresh matchup in the Dome for the main event for the belt, like, it's going to do well each year over each year successfully. Like, if you
there's not some huge drop. There's not some huge drop off anywhere you look.
Like, there is no John Cena to where, like, if you don't show up, like the house drops by a gigantic percentage. I don't believe that to be the case. seeing like what they did with Tanahashi and Omega just 2 years ago.
And they basically ended up saying, like, you know, Kenny going in and not any of these people is quite white, you know, the problem or whatever.
I'm
like, well, okay. I'm like, okay, if there's that advantage, if there's that advantage, right, then what do we say about the Tokyo Sports MVP that he didn't get in 2018?
No. I'm talking. Oh, so as far as that,
like that,
those are political,
that same advantage. Like,
those are
so I'm like,
awards.
You're going to benefit from an advantage somewhere, and then it's gonna shake out.
Yeah. Right. I'm with you on that. But I guess and also the thing when it comes to the Tokyo Sports MVP is also it's a political thing. Like, if you were the champion or the top star or maybe into the dome, like there's a gigantic correlation with whoever wins that shit. Like Kenta Miyaharu's never winning that fucking thing. It's never happening. It's just not. Like, now where Stardom is right now, like, Mayu's going to win it this year too, but like, the Women's Award, like, I think Stardom's won it like, something like 7 times this decade. Mm-hmm. In 1 year, 2014, they even had that award for the women. They skipped that year. I think it was 2014, they skipped a year. Like, Io won it 3 years in a row. Nanai won in 2010. Kairi won it. I think Mako won it the year that she was a Stardom champion. Like, that's kind of just what it is. But anyway,
and it's amazing for all the talk of, you know, Kenny Omega ruining his career by coming into America to AEW. Well, how about it? He only goes into the Observer Hall of Fame after 1 full year in America, and people, you know, seem to just dismiss this. Meanwhile, let's take a look.
And like, if he stayed in Japan, there's still the kind of level of level of wrestling he was doing there. Like, he doesn't get that kind of jump. Like, this is just because he is the best bout machine in AEW right now. That's what this is too. Like, because by the time this one came out, he wasn't even like displaying the promo skills that he has in recent, let's say, month or two. So it's like, yeah, like before, like when I was like, what the fuck is he doing? Why is he not being the star that he is? This is what I meant is like, he's showing it now, but like, I always knew it was in him. I was wondering like, why are you not? Because he's like, well, because I'm side questing to get this other fucking guy over. And I was like, hey man, you need to be more fucking selfish. Put up more shots. So yeah, like,
so yeah,
I think
it's amazing looking at Tomohiro Ishii. 39% has more than Ibushi and Naito, strictly off his match quality. Shouts out to Tomohiro Ishii. When you work hard, you get rewarded. 15% jump this year.
G1 season, bro. G1 season is Ishii time. Like the last 3 years, he is always MVP level. He's always in the discussion. He may not win it, but he's always going. He's like LeBron in that sense. Like, if he's healthy, he's going to finish somewhere in the top 3 in this bitch. Like, for the voting, for MVP. You know, all these guys are going to get in eventually. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I think they're all going
Naito's
in.
Getting in. Ishii's getting in. Ibushi's getting in. They're all getting in. I don't know how long it's going to take. They're all going to get in, because look at the era. So, it's just a matter of time. Like, do I think it was too soon for Kenny? Maybe. Ultimately, I don't care, because like, he's a guy that ultimately was going to get in anyway. I don't know. I'm like that with all Hall of Fame things. Like, I'm not with the, like, I feel like we should all chase down like the 4 motherfuckers that didn't vote King Griffey Jr. In. Like, you know, he's a Hall of Famer. Stop fucking playing. Like, stop being goofy.
Yeah. Goofy thing. Speaking of goofy, Trish Stratus, more votes than Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns falls off the ballot. Yes. Roman Reigns falls off the ballot in his first year of eligibility.
How far do you have to go and how low does your finish have to be to fall off the ballot? I don't know.
Less than 10%. So he got less than 10% of all votes. Trish got that 10%, along with like people like Kamala, who got the death bump. Stephanie McMahon, 11%.
So can he never get back on ever again?
No, you can go back on upon review if someone requests you to go back on. He'll go back on. What's up?
Who has to request you though?
Dave will randomly put you back on. They'll probably try again in a couple years with him.
Well,
but
okay.
Roman Reigns for everything he's done, less than 10%.
That's because
of all votes.
That's because he's been booked so poorly, and he is the stand or the symbol
this
of
is
all
a
the
travesty.
Right. Like, if you want to say, I believe that they pushed him a year before he was ready. I believe that he wasn't a good on the mic until 2017. That being said, his 2016 through 17 pay-per-view work was about as good as you can ask for any main event top star guy in WWE history, just about. Like, he was a top. Let me phrase that. Aside from fucking Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle, I don't want to even jump. I'm talking about like the guys that are Vince's favorites, the muscle bound over 260 pound motherfuckers,
heavyweights,
right? Super heavyweight types. Like he is like about as good he had about as good of a match run in those 2 years as you can ask for. Problem is, he's booked poorly. He's booked like shit. They screwed him up. They never admitted they screwed him up and changed him. They're just now getting to it, and he's fucking awesome. So,
yeah. They're going to revisit
a lot of this is self-inflicted from WWE, from the terrible booker that Vince McMahon has been over the last few years, whatever else. So, I believe that if they re-put him back up there in the next few years, and this is still the trajectory that he's on, the path he's on, things are going to change. He's not going to be dropped off the fucking ballot after a year like this, going for a couple more years. He's just not.
So I don't know if everyone knows how like the Observer Hall of Fame works, but we've got wrestlers that are active, we've got retired wrestlers, we've got historians, and we've got reporters. So this isn't like Dave. I'm sure he has a vote, a ballot.
Well, he gets a he because it's his newsletter.
Yeah, so like you think about all those people. I name all those different like classes, and then like they drop him under 10% as compared to. Like just any fucking body on
and the thing that always gets me is right. The thing that always just puts a smile on my face, like y'all just don't get it. When WWE fans get super defensive about people shitting on their product, saying that like, oh, these are all just New Japan hardcore wrestling marks or whatever else, is like, go through like his monthly pay-per-view fan voting where you get, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. And you see like, nah, bro, like there was a certain time where like, let's say we get to 2017 before the gender stuff, where like WWE main roster pay-per-views, excluding the NXT stuff, was, 2 to 3, like 60% to 70% liked. Like, in that era. And then as the booking got worse, it went down because the booking got worse. Like, that was a correlation. Like, the shows got worse, so therefore they got lesser grades. Now we're at the point where you think everybody hates shit. It's like, well, because the shit's really bad now. It's not like it's been as consistent as it was 4 years ago. And people don't seem to not be pretending like, nah, it's just as good as it was in 2016. It's like they missed it in real
time. Like.
Right. Like the gender shit never happened. Right? It never happened.
Yeah. So other things that were on here, CM Punk backslid to 15% on the ballot. He's been just going down year after year. And you think about CM Punk, he's so mishandled his cards. I'm going to come back on the fucking Fox News, Sports 1 and just like do this fake rebel, character or whatever, like to really tell it like it is, but like how WWE really.
Look, he get a check. He don't care, right? I don't think he cares about the Observer Hall of Fame. What was his high? Do you know what his peak was?
I don't know what his peak was, but last year he was at 20%, and now he's at 15%. So he's a threat to end up falling off the ballot pretty soon. Edge is at 44%. He's been a slow climber. He's been on the ballot for years. He only gained 2% with the comeback this year.
So you mentioned Edge, and Meltzer's been campaigning low key. So the next person I'm getting to, where is Randy Orton on this?
So Randy Orton has 34%. He went up from 27%. So that's a pretty big jump, percentage wise.
Because he decided to try this year. Because he decided to try this year.
He jumped the same amount that Kenny did, it looks like, but Kenny went from 53 to 61. Actually, no, Kenny went 8%. He went 7%, I believe.
Okay.
After that, you got like Akira Taue, who is, part of the four pillars. So maybe this is like a look into like a Naito years down the line, or, someone's just kind of struggling to get there, but I think he'll get there a little faster than Taue did. Goldberg,
one thing I will say,
6% jump.
Okay. Well, one thing I will say is, as far as the 4 pillars of God, I do believe that he'll make it in, because he's the only one that's not in.
Mm-hmm.
So, I do think that like that whole thing will get them in. Who's the highest rated woman on there?
Highest rated woman is Meiko Satomura.
What's her number?
She jumped from 14% last year to 33% this year. So I don't know when she first went on the ballot. I don't know if it's relatively soon, but like,
what does it take to get in? Is it first 10 years in the business or 35?
Yeah.
Okay, so that means she probably made it in. That means she would have been eligible in like 2000, let's say 7
I'm guessing
or something like that.
I'm guessing she fell off the ballot and then got requested to get put back on by people.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was having a conversation with Josh, like, after watching some of her 2001 stuff in Gaia, like, I was like, who are the best wrestlers from that era? I was like, Eddie, Angle, Triple H, and I forgot who he said from Mexico, but it's like, you look at those fucking matches she was having with, like, whether it was Aja Kong or it was, oh my god, Akira Hokuto, and you're like, yeah, she may have been the best wrestler in the world in 2001. Like, she may have been. And Gaia was still drawing big ass houses at the time. This was before it turned into real indies. Like, they were doing Budokan halls and Sumo halls and shit. So, like, and she's been incredible for that long. Like, as a worker, she absolutely is an Observer Hall of Fame, but, like, we haven't had a woman get into the Observer Hall of Fame, and it's been a long ass time. I can't remember the last one. I think the last people were, like, All Japan women. All Japan women's.
I would probably say, like, Aja Kong's in. I'd have to check on that. But.
Yeah, Aja Kong's in. I don't even think maybe Akira Hokuto's in. And then you have, like, people like Beauty Pierre and Crush Gals and I'm blanking. Maybe Hokuto's in, but like I don't even think like LCO's in, and like LCO's like one of the greatest tag teams ever.
One person I'm taking kind of an exception with as far as what has happened to them in the voting.
Well, quick question.
The Junkyard, yeah.
Well, the reason why I brought it up is because, like, as this stuff changes with the new voters, whatever else, like, we should probably start seeing, like, Stardom wrestlers, and
I don't think they have a chance.
I don't think they have a chance either. I'm saying just has Gentry a chance. I mean, because obviously, like, the real thing is really, like, Mayu, if she decides to stay around for another decade. But, she could retire fucking tomorrow for all we know. But, so I'm not even going to say, but anyway, just saying because of her age, the profile of the company is probably the fastest growing promotion in the world right now, or this year, from the end of 19 to right now. Like, she has a shot, outside shot. If she not die, also. But that, then also, like, also along with Stardom, because of the influence Stardom, also the Horsewomen. Because as the draw stuff goes down, you're going to start looking around and be like, alright, if we're ever going to put WWE wrestlers in, I think they're going to have a better shot. How fucking long do you go before you get to Sasha Banks or Becky Lynch or Charlotte Flair or Bayley? Like, it ain't gonna be too long before you start getting to that. So we'll see as this thing changes. I think they're gonna
possibly have better cases than a Randy Orton or an Edge. The only thing I would watch out for them with is the inability to quantify their impact on any type of the business or whatever. But
and also, who knows how much longer. We also just figured, like, we just assume, like, somebody was going to give up their career faster, and we assume it's going to be women before men, and that's unfair. But you look at how it tracks between career women in WWE and career men in WWE, and it seems like women's shelf life is shorter. So, there's also that to account for, as far as, like, after Becky has this child, if she ever comes back, like, if she don't come back, she's not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. Junkyard Dog last year got 45% and then dropped to 29% this year.
Why do you think he had 49 last year?
I have no idea why it dropped like this.
Why do
I don't
you
know
think
why
it
it
was
was
so high last year.
I don't know why it was so high last year, but I would, if I had an Observer Hall of Fame ballot, I would 100% vote for the Junkyard Dog. If you have not read the King of New Orleans book and you have an interest in Southern wrestling and Mid-South wrestling, it's like a cheat code and guide for the era. This man was literally Hulk Hogan, John Cena of that time.
Yeah.
A black hero, superhero, like for 4 or 5 years. And I think what gets held against him is that it quote unquote wasn't long enough or whatever. And he wasn't a good worker, but like Junkyard in his prime was a good worker, I would say, like from what he was asked to do and the angles that they put together and drew with around him, like it is legendary. Like and I know what happened with Dog. He basically eventually he went national and it didn't play as well on that big stage.
I was going to ask you. Do you think his WWE run or WWF run ultimately hurt him as opposed to if he had just left it alone and never went anywhere after that? I
think the WWE hurt him. WCW crippled him.
Gotcha.
When he was very older, and I believe he had some substance abuse issues, and they had him out there with Flair in like 89 or 90, and it was not good. But for that time period, you start talking about all the people that were orbiting around him: the Natural Butch Reed, Hacksaw Jim Dugan, as they would say.
Was DiBiase there?
Yes, that was the next guy I was going to name. Ted DiBiase. All these guys that he were feuded with popped huge houses. Jake was there. Popped huge houses. Bringing in Dusty Rhodes. Bringing in Andre the Giant. Michael Hayes and the Freebirds.
Did they bring in Rock and Roll, or am I mistaken in that?
I think they... I believe they did stop through. I don't know if they were linked with Dog, though. But I don't... Junkyard Dog's a Hall of Famer. I don't care what they're talking about, but
well, for me, like, I think of it more in terms of football Hall of Fame, where it's like, if you were like, I don't care necessarily about how great your career is. If you were, just on fire in a certain aspect for like half a decade, that's good enough for me, because that's good enough for the NFL Hall of Fame. So like, that's kind of where I am on it. So, he did that. I just think that a lot of people, what happened was once he get to a bigger pond, and then, you go from there, and it's like, well, he's also like, you're not accounting for, you're not adding on the calculus that me and Rich are when it comes to like trying to draw nationally with this black man in the 80s. It's like, nah, you need to add something to the algorithm to account for white people's racism. Like, it's kind of like, you gotta grade down a bit of a curve, if you will.
Rocky Johnson got a 5% death bump. It looks like he's up to 28%. I don't think he's ever gonna go.
I was surprised he was that high.
Yeah,
I know he could work or whatever, but like, he didn't last long anywhere, really, did he?
No, he except for like territory to territory.
Yeah,
place to place. Well, yeah, and Shima Dragon Gate 27%. So I think eventually Shima, as people get more into Dragon Gate.
Where's Shingo on there?
Shingo has not gone on the ballot, I believe, yet.
That's okay. So
next year,
let this keep up for another couple of years. Like, maybe I don't think given how much of his career was in Dragon Gate, but he keeps this up for another few years. Like, he should deservedly be mentioned for whatever percent he gets. But yeah.
So added to next year's ballot. This is why I'm kind of glad Kenny got in, because then like you start splitting more votes. Oh, but he was in the Japan region. Might not have affected him that much. But next year's ballot, Nikki Bella goes on the ballot. Darrell Dixon, whoever that is.
I don't know who that is.
Superstar Bill Dundee, Seth Rollins, Kazuchika Okada, Jon Moxley, the Hollywood Blondes, Buddy Robert and Jerry Brown, Octagon, the AAA La Parka, and Psycho Clown goes on.
So, how did Seth and Dean get passed for a year when Roman got on this year? They all debuted the same fucking night.
Roman's 35.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. For some reason, I thought Dean was maybe older than him, but all right, okay. All right.
I think Moxley has a much better chance than Rollins of going in. I think Rollins is going to get like 5% of the vote and fall off immediately. I'm going to book Jon Moxley for like 30%.
That high?
At the most, I would probably say. I think Okada goes in with like 85%, if not 90. I'm not as familiar with the voter demographics as you are. So, what I will say is that it's crazy that like Moxley he's going to end up with a higher like he is going to end up with a higher percentage than Roman or Seth, and it's like that wouldn't have been the case if he never left. He doesn't even get his ass mentioned next year if he doesn't leave. That's crazy. No, he goes on and he falls right the fuck off like they did.
Yeah. That's crazy. And I was talking, we didn't talk about this on air, but I think was it last week or was it 2 weeks? It was after the pay-per-view, and it's like, yeah, man, like from a creative standpoint, as individual wrestlers, like this is 2020 has been the best creative year for all three members of the Shield, all collectively. As far as programs, matches, promos, as single acts all together, this is the best collection of work those three have done as individuals since, Seth put the chair across Roman's back. And it took one of them having to leave the company, and also like one of them had to leave in the middle of a fucking pandemic to come back to be something that Vince never wanted him to be to get this done. Like, this is like, I'm happy for them, but it's bittersweet as hell because that was supposed to be the future. And through no fault of those three's actual
future
talent,
ever come?
They all got fucked up. Fucked up.
Did the future ever come, or did it just like float by?
It came. They all got water thrown on them at different points, especially Seth. Like after that gauntlet match, you should have. They waited too long. You look at Roman, they went too early. With Dean, they never even fucking tried, no matter how loud the crowd cheered for him, no matter how much they realized that we got to put Roman next to Dean to get him cheered. They realized they need to do that to get the other guy they wanted to push cheered, but not push the fucking guy that was getting cheered to begin with. It's like, right. What are y'all doing? It's like, just turn Roman heel on Dean right now, have a feud, and then come back to it in 18 months.
You would think. Nikki Bella, will Nikki Bella get more than 10%?
Will she get more than 5%?
She has an outside shot. If you get enough rogue voters that start trying to quantify whatever the hell total Bellas meant or total Divas meant, if you try to extrapolate her with Evolution, I just think there's so much bad stuff that goes against her as far as like never main eventing anything aside from the one show. Like,
she made it in one pay-per-view ever.
Yeah.
No, not against
one pay-per-view ever.
No, not against her, but that she's main evented one pay-per-view ever. As far as a draw, the only thing to point to as far as a draw coincides with her wrestling adjacent stuff and not her actual wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, her draw is that, like, the reality show, the people that she brought to the strip club, in the words of Joe Budden, off the strength of what she was doing there, like, it wasn't actually what her television and creative and TV programs were doing. Like, I mean, you can quite honestly, you could easily say that, like, aside from the stuff with her and her sister at SummerSlam 2014 and her feud with
Charlotte?
Natalia in 2017.
Okay.
And I guess you can even. I was also throwing in Ronda stuff, even though I think the stuff Ronda said was fucking bogus. Those only 3 like good television or good programs she ever had. And that's not because also the era, like she was brought in not to wrestle a certain way, and then other women came in wrestling a certain way, and then she had to adjust on the fly, and she did a admirable job changing on the fly. I thought she was all
right. I was always a supporter of Nikki Bella.
Right.
I had Nikki Bella come on 5 years later. She probably shows up at the Performance Center, works really hard, gets to practice her matches, and probably ends up a little bit better in the ring.
Right, and she won like she was awful in the ring, and when she came back, it was 2014. Is that 2013 or 14 when they came back?
They came back in 14.
Yeah, they absolutely improved from the time when they were first around to when they came back. So it ain't like she wasn't trying her; she was out there trying her all the time. It's just she was from she was in one of those time machine situations where like. She was too early for her time. If she had came around later, she would have been a better worker.
But maybe she doesn't get her, the outside of stuff wrestling. So it's a trade-off. So
right.
I don't take her as a serious candidate. I would be more
I don't either.
Interested on seeing where her percentages land. So
right. And ultimately, she don't give a fuck about the Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Correct.
Right? Like
this
she's
is
going
not
to
why
go.
We were here.
Like she is going to go into the WWE Hall of Fame. Her and her sister, and that's going to be the Hall of Fame they care about. And I don't see anything wrong with that. Like they did what they were asked to do, and they did it very well for what was asked of them. I don't need like. I'm not holding it against the Bella twins that they didn't work like fucking Thunder Rock. Like I'm not. No, I'm not gonna say you need to wrestle like Konami and fucking Jungle Kiona. No, sorry. It's just that's not what was asked of them.
Yeah. So if you enjoyed our Hall of Fame stuff, check out the Observer. Voting somewhere. I'm sure it's up somewhere. You guys will be able to look at it and all that. So, but on to the Wednesday shows.
Yeah.
So after Full Gear, this is the show, the follow up on the Fallout. I gotta say, very enjoyable show. We got some returns, we got some stuff set up, a couple good matches. We got the bunkhouse match. My man QT triumphed out here. So let me just get my report here.
I thought that on a comeback show, given that we got 3 quality matches, and also with the return of Pac, with I guess a final blow off of or not a final blow off, but seeing where we're headed with this MJF thing with him and him in the Inner Circle, like I thought it was a good show. I don't like the bunkhouse matches, most people, but we'll get to it.
Yeah, so we started. It looks like with they had a promo ahead of the show. Taz was out cutting a promo.
Yes.
Ahead of the match. I can't get it out. Darby Allin's sitting up top like Sting, and and Taz told Allen not to interfere in the match. Tell Cody the same thing. Taz put over Seidel and said that Seidel has a win over Jericho back in the day. So we got Brian Cage versus Matt Seidel, a rematch from Slammiversary 2018. Quietly one of the great shows ever.
I forgot that was on that card. Yo, that match, I mean, I was thinking about it when I was watching the Pentagon match when they started ripping each other's mask. It's like, remember when him and like your boy was using the railroad spikes on each other's foreheads in that match? Pitt has been raw for a long time.
Yeah.
A long time.
So this was pretty awesome here for a TV match. Seidel, I'm hearing some from sources that he is indeed signed to AEW now. So he's around. He's going to be able to wrestle guys like Cage and then have matches with guys like Lee Johnson on Dark and just be a great kind of guy that's there. Obviously, Matt Seidel should be somewhere in one of the big three. So Cage, the finish to this was awesome.
Yes, it was.
It was like Seidel jumped and got caught in the suplex position into the drill claw, and it was just like, this is why Brian Cage is around. This is why this is exactly it.
Yeah. They also had Taz on commentary walking over right before the match started, and there was a point early in the match where Seidel tried something that involved strength, and Cage quickly thwarted it. And I love how much, for some reason, like, it pops me every time Taz says the word machine, and he's like, you can't outpower the machine. So anyway, I love the story of the match. Is like, Cage is trying to showcase some of this agility stuff, but he's not more agile and skilled with finesse than Seidel. Seidel's eating him up until Seidel goes for that move, and he's like, fuck this, power, drop him on his head. I win. I thought it was a nice, neat, I thought it was a nice, clean story. It was a lot of cool stuff and a lot of good strikes. Yeah. Like the match a lot.
Yeah. Ricky Starks then cut a promo talking about how him and Cage are now in the top 5, just dripping in all the swag, the real star of this thing. He said the Revolution will be televised. Then Cody came out and made his full entrance and congratulated Darby on his victory. Cody said he's not going to be seeking a rematch
at this time.
And instead he wants a match with MJF. And then after that, Jade Cargill enters the ring. James, I made you aware of Jade Cargill.
No.
I don't know how long ago.
No. Jade Cargill, just by standing over on the babyface side of the barricade, made me aware of her. I was like, who is that? And then I asked you, who was that? And then you told me who that was, and I was like, immediate follow. But what I will say is
all-time great IG.
I'm not going to talk about IG. Let's talk about the show. let's talk about what happened on the show.
So, she comes in the ring, very tall, very muscular, put together.
Incredible.
And she took the mic and accused Cody of lying. Why are you capping out here, sir? She said, I wish she would have said cap. So she introduced herself as Jade Cargill. Formerly, she had a WWE tryout. Somehow, they didn't sign her. I don't know what happened there, but maybe they felt like they already had Bianca Belair. That's, looking at that line of thinking, that's often happens in that company.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
She called herself the total package. Jade Cargill is I did a little bit of research. She is a former college basketball player I believe she went to Jacksonville State, if I'm not mistaken, and she led either her team or a conference in rebounds and steals or something like that. So Cody, Jade said that Cody wants to topple giants, but there's nothing giant about Cody, and then looked him up and down, essentially saying that man's meat is small. Stop playing.
Oh my God.
So Cargill basically told Cody to keep thoughts to himself and to watch his back, and then she sarcastically kind of congratulated him on getting his name back, and then said Cody was too scared to go by just one name, and said that, said you want to call yourself a giant killer, but, there is a real giant, and he's a real star, and he goes by one name, and she says Shaq, and I'm like,
what? What? Why?
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm like, oh my fucking God. Like, I was like, I don't want to see no Shaq match.
At first I was like, who is she representing? And then it was like, then she said Shaq. I was like, keep in mind, I just watched this today. We're recording this on Monday, so I managed to avoid a lot of these AEW and NXT spoilers. And when she said Shaq, I was like the Kobe gif. What? Okay, whatever. Like I don't know what this is. I don't know. It's obviously a synergy for TNT with the TNT on NBA on TNT, or whatever else, or inside the NBA, but I don't know what this is supposed to be.
I think this is more that stuff they were talking about. We're going to do some things our fans not really might not really be down with, but they're trying to expand the social footing of AEW, because when you think of wrestling, you just think of WWE. And Shaq, still a very big star.
Yeah, that's true.
Around.
That's true. He's on commercials.
I don't love it.
Lots of
it's
them.
not it's not what I want to see, but like, it ain't necessarily about me here.
At least it's with Cody.
Yeah. Don't be trying to. Kenny Omega.
I wouldn't even go take it there and be like, nah, bro, I don't want to see a match between Kenny and Pac to talk about the size disparity. Fuck that. I don't want that at all. I don't want Eddie Kingston versus Shaq. I don't want John Moxley versus Shaq. I don't want the Young Bucks versus a handicap match versus Shaq. Nah.
However, I would take a Shaq and Young Bucks 6-man unit.
God damn it. You want Shaq in the tassels?
Everyone has to wear the tassels.
Yes. Stupid. I knew it.
Young Bucks
exactly
book comes out tomorrow. I can't wait.
I knew exactly where you were going the second I said, I said a handicap match. You were like, but I would. I'm like, God damn it. He about to put Shaq in some tassels.
Yep. So I think a Shaq and Young Bucks team, I would rather see that than whatever the hell is going on. So up next, then we got the next part, and this was the talk of Twitter. Brandy Rose stormed out, and it's exactly what you think it was, James. She basically was all fired up and started yelling at Jade Cargill and was like, "Bitch, who told you it was open mic night?" Like, just I've never seen Brandy this fired up, and I loved it.
Okay.
I thought she saved the segment because Jade was a little shaky. She's new and not quite comfortable. Like it seems like on the mic, it looks like they kind of asked a lot of her. She had a lot of stuff to remember.
Yes, and also we're talking about effectively a rookie wrestler cutting a promo in a ring in a big stadium that has that echo and the delay where you talk and then you can hear yourself over the audio system, and the audio system's not next to you, so it's coming in waves. So be able to talk, you have to kind of talk one sentence at a time, or maybe a few select words at a time to get over the echo so you can finish out your thought, you can hear yourself talk. It's a weird experience, and it shows you how hard it is to give people dialogue to remember, and that's how you get the what chant to be around for the last 20 years or so. Can we talk about the Brandy stuff?
I think this is why we exist, James.
Okay, so like I said, I did not see any of the talk around it, but I'm assuming one of the things that got brought up was, where did this accent come from, right?
Yes.
How did I know that was going to happen? Look, I guess it's the first time we have seen Brandy turn the switch all the way off and left it off for a promo. And I thought to myself, like, that's not how you was talking to Anna Jay, and that's not how you was talking to the bunny. Why did the switch go? Why did the switch go off for Miss Jade? Miss Jade's a rapper for Miss Cargill. I
started talking about Cody's dick.
So I thought it was funny because I already knew where the conversation went, and I don't want to get into any of these questions of whatever.
Look, I said it on Twitter. Once y'all realize that the thing y'all don't like about what Brandy Rose does is Brandy Rose, y'all will be okay from there. But there's no such thing as talking a color. get that, like, let that go.
Yeah.
Like,
I saw that come from a mile away. So,
but I love this. I loved it. It
was fun. It was fun.
Mixed tag?
Well, God, no. I don't want to say
I would not do a mixed tag here.
Are we done? Can we move on to the segment? Because I want to leave. I want to say something before we leave, so we can wrap this up. Are we done?
Go ahead, sir.
Go ahead. Jay looked like she smelled good. So what's the next segment?
So basically, they wrapped it up by Team Taz running and attacking Cody.
They whooped that ass.
Him, Starks, and Cage started beating that ass, but Darby's music played. He made the save, and then minutes later, Will Hobbs ran out.
He teleported. We were going to talk about Will Hobbs, but
yeah,
he was sitting up top for most of the show. I could have swore. I'm not serious with this because obviously they went away from him and whatever else he could have got concessions, but he was in the upper deck. He was in the upper deck. Then all of a sudden you heard that dun 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 dun, and I was like, "Here's Coach Darby!" And all of a sudden he's walking down in the 100 section. He's like, "God damn, this man knew." And that's what was coming. He just knew all this stuff was happening. He knew, all right, that man vulnerable. He got told to meet small. They finna come attack. Team Taz finna come attack this man. So he comes in and he has thumbtacks all over his jacket, and he runs himself into at first it was oh my god, I'm blanking, Starks, and then he runs into Cage, and that made both of them patter out the ring. So then by the time
it seems like minutes later.
Yes. Then by the time everything had been de-escalated, Cody had already been saved. They're walking away. All of a sudden, Hobbs comes in with the chair, bashes the chair against the ground to make the noise. He had just missed opportunity. A white man had already been saved. He was late. He was late for it. He missed his cue. So he goes to the ring and is like, okay, so, it was, we talked about this, you had mentioned this, it could be Cody that gets thrown into this match between Team Taz or whatever else. I'm trying to figure out who will be the third person for them to then add in Will Hobbs, or is this going to be, well, actually, it's already been decided next week's going to be just those two. It's going to be Darby and Cody versus Team Taz. I think it kind of stinks because they had just did the thing with Hobbs, and then, it went up in smoke because of the COVID thing, but maybe
only thing I think maybe Team Taz got to Will Hobbs. Maybe this is some type of deception. Runs out there late to make him think he was on his side. We haven't ever gotten an answer for Will Hobbs if he wanted to join Team Taz or not. Remember, he keeps showing up late.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
So,
but I mean, on Sunday he had just saved a white man. This time he was late. It happens.
Yeah. So, Alex Marvez then interviewed John Moxley. Moxley said when he came to AEW, he wasn't interested in championships. He just wanted to, whoop some ass. But now the world title represents every single one of these fans. He said he has anyone that was out of a job. He basically one of those Dusty Rhodes type babyface promos.
He said everyone was out of a job. Everybody has had a hard time this year. Every kid that's being made fun of because they were told wrestling's not cool or something along those lines about kids that love wrestling that get ridiculed for it. I thought this was, you can finish with the rest, but I thought this was a great promo.
He said he's got a big challenge ahead with Kenny Omega, and Kenny, he said he's beaten Kenny once, but beating him twice, it takes someone special, but he's someone that's special, so he's able to do it. So, then they announced that Moxley will defend the AEW championship against Kenny on December 2nd, and is being billed as the biggest match in Dynamite history.
It is. I was floored. I cannot believe they're giving us this on pay-per-view or not on pay-per-view, on TV.
I'm shocked.
I was shocked.
I was shocked. I was I've been sitting with this all week, and I've considered all options on this.
Ongoing?
No, well, Floyd's trying to get me to go. However, I work the next day, so I don't know. And I'd be fucking blown, like, if like, it's like I don't know. I don't think they're going to do some type of fuck finish. There's going to be a winner and a loser here. My mind immediately started racing. I'm like, all right, are they going to try to just get this belt off of Moxley so he can go do quarantine in time for Wrestle Kingdom? Is that what's going on? Apparently when the match was made, that was not the thinking. So, then you start thinking about, okay, their pay-per-view numbers are going to be what they are and what they have been, which is that steady, like, between 90 and 110,000, like anywhere between there. The money's made off TV. Last year they struggled in December because they just couldn't stop the bleeding for whatever reason. Then they were fine the new year. But
I think I don't know what happened in December last year aside from the last Dynamite of the year. Like that one was like, oh well, yeah, that no one wants to see that.
Yeah,
you beat up all the baby faces with like a mid-card heel team.
Yeah, and this ain't the same Dark Order that's around now. Like, this was like them being too ahead. But I was like, man, they're really not going to do this on pay-per-view. Like, they're trying to draw like a super number, it feels like. But I don't feel like a super number's coming just because of the calendar. Then again, what has worked of late, not only in AEW, but in NXT, in WWE, it's been doing big matches on TV
on basically 2-3 week build. Yeah, even they did that when it came to the they've been doing that. The cage match with Wardlow, the whooping, as you call it, the fight for the Fallens, or not Fight for the Fallen, but Fighter Fest stuff. Like they've built to those big special matches and or big special shows.
This
and
one feels
Halloween Havoc is another example of NXT that they did. So yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, you're right. But you give it weeks or whatever else, you build it up and you run it. Like, I'm surprised they're doing it, but if they're going to do it, it looks like they're doing it appropriately, in my opinion. Because they're giving it 3 weeks to build this thing.
I was talking to Chad, and Chad firmly thought that before this got announced, it was this is the biggest match in the company right now. So it's why wouldn't you do this on pay-per-view? But I guess they figured, let's try to pop a monster number, especially to help these averages or whatever. And then when it's time for these negotiations to really get something going here, I was kind of shocked.
Well, one thing to mention is before he had a setback with Mercer again, going to the first match we were going to get between Moxley and I'm just calling him Hangman, Moxley and Omega, in my opinion, that was the most anticipated match I have for AEW. That was the most anticipated I've been for any AEW match. And then, it got delayed and then they put on the lights out step and it dampened it for me. But so yeah, I've talked to you about that match was cool that they had or whatever else. It's a great match. A lot of people love it. But I want a regular rules fucking match and watch them two,
So does Kenny Omega.
Yeah. Right.
We'll get to that later, but I'm kind of shocked. I don't know what to think. Of course, my conspiracy theory mind went off. I'm like, is this New Japan trying to fuck with Kenny again? Make sure he's not, this would happen. Japan. Got to win the belt on TV or whatever, and not on pay per view or whatever. So you can't buy it. To get Mox to New Japan, because initially I felt like there were potentially outside things dictating what an AEW World Championship title change might be, and I was like, I don't like that. Especially with the run that Mox has had, I want him to drop the belt kind of on his own merit rather than hey, I have to go lose the fifth most important belt in New Japan. Who gives a fuck at this point? I'm sorry, the AEW World Championship, way to fuck up here. The fucking US title, where?
I don't look at it that way, because, I enjoy when Moxley takes his ass to New Japan. So, I see it differently, but I get what you're saying. I see where you're coming from.
So after that, it was bunkhouse time. So knee pads over the jeans. The Butcher and the Blade came out in full garb. Aesthetically, this team just gets it. Low key, like second tier, mid tier MVPs this year. The Butcher and the Blade. They just make everything better. Like they just come out here and they're fucking solid as fuck. They look like badasses. Like, I love this team.
Do you actually love the team, or do you just love the Butcher?
I love this team.
All right. Like, Blade's cool. I think I just like Butcher more.
I mean, who doesn't like Butcher more? Like, look how, like, he's just swaggerific. Like, and then, like, this match.
Has there ever been a most improved gimmick off the fact that someone stopped wearing black and decided we're all white? Because that's what they did. Nothing changed. They decided we're all white. It's the silliest, goofiest, most nonsensical stuff in the world. But that little panache made them more likable and more palatable. I don't get it. It's a dumb.
Came out with the big apron on.
Wrestling stupid, Rich.
Yeah. Came out with the big apron on, bro. When it came out, I was like, what the fuck? Look at the look. Like, they fucking get it. Like, but I love this. This was just a wild street brawl. Like, and at the end, it was QT and the Blade. It came down to them after lots of bleeding everywhere. Dustin was awesome in this match.
Yes, he was. He was the best wrestler in this match. The Blade, he was somewhere high. He was somewhere over 5 on the Muda scale. They was bleeding out there. He did a number on himself. He did a number on himself to get that much blood. God damn.
Yeah. And this one did pretty well in the ratings too, on the show, like quarter hour wise.
People hitting each other shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing I will note, this match was absolutely good. I did not like it to the level of most people. I think it might be because of the match we got on Saturday. I think just like, yes, they hit each other a lot of shit, but like it was not the kind of emotion involved with like, you're my friend, I don't want to hurt you, but I must because I'm protecting this fucking title and I need you to quit, even though I know this is going to make you feel like, a fucking, waste of space. But
a loser.
Yeah. So after your failures have led you already down this path, it might, you might never be able to come out the other side of it. But yeah, it's just but what I will say is the one spot with the Jeff Jarrett live spot with all of a sudden the Blade the Blade pulls out a guitar and QT leans forward and he botches that shit across the back of QT's head and like his left shoulder, the back of his left shoulder. And then like the camera goes away and I'm like, he better not Blade. And then he comes up and after you see it literally hits the back of his head, he blazes forward and I was like, all right, I'm on autopilot. Whatever happens after this. This is fucking goofy. Like after I just went on the rant about AEW when it came to motherfuckers, you punch some shit and then like you blade the side of a hand. This is another example of this. I was like, whatever. Like they hit you with a lot of shit. But it was a good match. Absolutely.
At the end of the day, then it came down to QT Marshall and the Blade in the ring.
What do you think,
fighting for honor?
What do you think of them doing the bulldog spot off of the thing into the gimmick of something they were supposed to jump into, and then like they both recovered and made it back into the match? Because I thought like after that happened, it was going to come, and it was just those two in the ring, QT and the Blade. I was like, okay, this eventually going to end right here. And then like they continued wrestling, those two recovered, got into it, and it kept going. What do you think of that?
I assume everybody has superhuman strength in these fights.
No, not as far as like whether the selling was off psychology wise, but like, do you think that added to the match, or do you think they should have actually just let it end? Like,
I think QT and Blade should have ended it on their own.
Okay,
personally, but
okay.
I think the finish also should have been like when QT hit the elbow off the ladder.
Yep, I thought the same thing too.
However, after that they did the diamond cutter on the, they did Butcher and Blade and the Bunny. Bunny went through the table. Of course, she had to get hers. And then chain assisted diamond cutter.
Cleanly cut table too, by the way.
Yeah. Dustin hit Blade with the cowbell, and then Marshall hit the cutter for the win. I thought this was like great. QT prospering out here. QT wins at the end. A national inspiration. Just just showing y'all.
He's on the American Nightmare team. That's why. Okay, it's like, wait, what? American hero? What? Like, what? What's going on? All right.
So this was awesome. After that, Matt Hardy cut a promo for his compound, and I hated every fucking second of this.
He made that man buried Sammy, bro. If you watch it from the perspective of realize like he murdered this fucking guy, and then with his two black friends, basically put him into a trash can and hauled the carcass away. Right? He cuts his promo saying, We have hurt each other, and I got my vengeance on you. And that now that I've beaten you, I hope you learn the lesson, and you will not squander the opportunity that I've given your career.
You will be a big star.
And I was like, hold on, are you saying don't squander?
Putting him over?
No, I was like, did you just say don't you dare squander your career after I just literally murdered you in front of everybody? He's dead. What are you talking about, man?
Like I don't understand the part where like Matt Hardy put him over by putting him in the garbage can. Like, is his brain broken? Like, I don't understand this.
That's why I made my Social Suplex nickname for like a couple hours today was like Matt Hardy's brain could be poured into a slushy cup because this man CTE thing's going on, bro.
What is this?
Care.
Like, bro, like they fucking killed Sammy Guevara. I guess he's gonna have to turn babyface out of the inner circle, like through the MJF thing, right? Yeah. But like, I don't see how Matt Hardy helped him get there, like at all.
He didn't.
So up next, I
don't need it to necessarily be connected to reality because Matt Hardy, of course not, but. Just the idea of what he said is like, I murdered you, so don't you dare squander this opportunity to have your soul has left your body. It's like he's talking to a cadaver. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Losing it.
It's ridiculous. What does Matt Hardy do next? What is there for him to do?
So on BT today, he was bragging about himself quite a lot when he ran into the Young Bucks about the history of his career and all the tag team titles he's won, and basically downplaying the Bucks. Maybe he gets a tag team partner and then fuse with the Young Bucks or something.
How much longer does Jeff have?
I don't know. He mentioned his brother too.
I mentioned Jeff as if like he's in prison right now.
He's in jail.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, when does he get out? Jeff Hardy.
When does he come home?
Look, and with Jeff, you never quite know. But he did mention his brother in that thing, so okay. I wouldn't be shocked if they try to pull a Hardys and Bucks program at some point in AEW. But
yeah, when did they do those in Triple? Where did they Ring of Honor?
Ring of Honor.
That's right, in 2017, beginning of 2017. Yep. Yeah.
So they did the Inner Circle induction ceremony for MJF. Jericho came out, addressed the crowd, and he invited the original Inner Circle out first. Hager, Santana, or Ortiz came out. But Sammy Guevara was not there.
Because he's fucking dead. That's
yeah. At least that's what you think. And then MJF and Wardlow came out, both of whom they got inducted into the Inner Circle. So this is like a 2-for-1. Like, if you had to hang out with MJF, like, is Wardlow like the fact you get Wardlow with him? Is it worth it? Like, for your wrestling group.
From a kayfabe perspective, hell yeah.
Yes. Yeah, like, I'll deal with this asshole MJF, but like, we got this Wardlow right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, after that, MJF said he took the podium, or MJF took the podium and started acting all emotional. He said he overcame adversity by getting a small loan of $1 million, like more Trump speak. And then he said he handled the burden of being a ratings champion, and then he prepared a poem, but the lyrics were from Drake's All Me.
Yeah.
And then that song is like a couple years old, but whatever. It fit for the situation.
15, 16, something like that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. It worked for the,
Right.
Yeah.
Ortiz got on the mic and said, hold on, bro. That's not your shit. Like, that's a Drake song. What the fuck you doing? And then MJF said he's never heard Drake. What are you talking about?
Right. And his next line was like, but I started from the bottom and now I'm here. It was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, he know what he's doing. Like, I mean, obviously it's older song, but it's like, you do that so that like, even people that don't listen to rap know what the fuck's going on.
Hey, at least when MJF did this, it seems like there was some self-awareness there. I seem to recall Enzo Amore completely acting like this was his own. Like when he was doing these things.
Yeah, like he was clearly, like the butt of the joke was clearly the fact that MJF is a goof. Like, he's that aware of it. Like, Enzo's like, yeah.
This me.
Yeah. You're right.
Santana Ortiz were looking at Jericho like what the fuck you doing, bro? Like this ain't right. Like he ain't one of us. And Jericho said everyone needs to chill. The inner circle's gonna be stronger than ever. And you can see what's gonna happen. You see it coming from a mile away. Yep. MJF's gonna get in this fucking group. Jericho is gonna like somehow start dropping his guard.
You want to know what it is?
And MJF's going to win over the rest of that fucking group, and then they're going to kick his old ass out.
You want to know what this is?
What?
This is Terrell Owens gets traded for the 49ers to the Eagles, and Jericho is McNabb.
Wow.
And a year goes by, and the next thing you know, there will be people on one side.
Is this the Nation of Domination?
In wrestling terms, yeah, sure, I guess. And then, like, on one end, there's the other side. And then, like, there'll be a conflict and it'll get resolved one or the other. But, like, they're off to a very good start. They really are.
Yeah. So, MJF said they're not just here to celebrate his induction, they're celebrating Jericho's birthday. Jericho turns 50 out of the demo at this point. I'm shocked they didn't do like something about Jericho leaving the demo.
We'll see. I could see it becoming a thing in the next couple of weeks. They like to play with these sorts of things.
Yeah, and then the confetti and balloons came out. Then they said the Inner Circle was headed to Vegas next week, and the trip's on him. And then they sang "Happy Birthday" to close the segment. So after that, Alex Marvez interviewed the Young Bucks, and he flinched when they opened the dressing room. From the super kicks. Got these announcers traumatized and shit.
Yeah, because they were dicks, and now they're not dicks. Yeah. Great.
Bucks is cool now. All they had to do was win. And then they calmed down. Could be worse.
Remember all that edge they needed to have to face face FTR and beat them?
Yeah.
How did that necessarily manifest during the match? It seemed like they just wrestled a Young Bucks match.
Well, you see, when they started doing everyone else's moves, that was the edge that they needed. And he kicked them with the edge of his foot at the finish of his bare foot.
Bro, I don't think I've ever had more people like come to me and be like, I can't believe you gave this match a certain rating or whatever else. It was like I just didn't like this shit as much as y'all. Like Chad actually tagged me in something on Facebook, and I was like, because the last week's show, he said he's like, this is the most begrudgingly given 4 1/4 star match I've ever heard, and I was like, well, Rich asked me what I liked about the match on the show, and I did feel like I could just say the moves. I felt like that shit was lazy. I could just be like, well, what did you like about it? Well, the moves. I just didn't like the spamming of the stuff as much as y'all. I was like, okay. Like, it just sounds like, thanks, James. But yeah.
The Bucks basically.
What are we doing with Matt? Because Matt is like in his Shawn Michaels lost his smile beard with the cross earring.
The earring.
Yeah, like there's something going on. I don't know about you be concerned or what's going
on. Well, Matt is 35.
Oh Lord. Okay.
So, maybe he's trying to feel the spirit of youth, that is, leaving. And that's why it ties into this next thing. The Bucks, they called the tag championships the biggest achievement in their careers. It said, before they received a message from Top Flight, basically a high flying team of brothers that, basically, within the first 30 seconds, he wanted to wrestle them. Top Flight, they're pretty good. They're very young. Even younger than Private Party. And Matt granted them a tag team title opportunity next week. They've been on Dark the last couple weeks, so I expect like a very good match here. I think they're still like Top Flight. They're not in the fast changing in the wrestling world to where you have to lock people in early now. It's just kind of like the way it is. Like, you definitely sign Top Flight and then you kind of like stash them, I feel like. But they're very talented, very they take risks. This is going to be like some Young Bucks Private Party shit.
So who is Top Flight have the dudes that like rap?
No. I actually want to talk about them whenever we get a chance, but I don't know where it fits. So Max Caster is a guy that raps, and his tag team partner is Anthony Bowen. He doesn't rap. Anthony Bowen. Do they
have a team name?
Yes, they're called the Acclaimed.
Okay.
So Max Caster is going to be a superstar in wrestling, I feel like. I feel like he's already better than young John Cena as far as like he can rap on beat. And like it's very like it's like, oh, okay, he knows what he's doing. He actually like raps. Like, I can tell. I follow him on Twitter. Every Friday he does like Freestyle Friday, and he makes beats too. So he puts up like a freestyle that he does, and then tons of charisma. Good look, good kind of got like a Jason Jordan kind of size to him a little bit. Jordan's, I think, a little bit more muscular on that side, but Anthony Bowens is like going to be like the worker out of those two, and Bowens is pretty good.
Okay. Calls
himself the 5-tool prospect or 5-tool player or something like that. Like, I think both of those guys are going to be a really big tag team, and whenever they go their separate ways, they're both going to have lines to success wherever they end up. So, but yeah, the Bucks, like, back to them, they are seeing. Like last year, they were looking at this young tag team and like, damn, we ain't the young guys no more. And then Top Flight, this is like more of that, like, all these brothers now, like, and it's just like they are transitioning into this other stage right now. I feel like, like they're looking back, like, damn, like we got this legacy, like, and it's like, man, we need something to keep pushing us. And it's like, we're going to keep fighting these young guys eventually. So I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting.
No, I was laughing at the thing you said, like, like a year ago, they were wrestling, you're alluding to Private Party, and now they're wrestling these brothers. I was like, well, they was wrestling brothers a year ago too.
So Top Flight are actual brothers, but
no, I know, but yeah, I knew what you meant. But it's like, they're wrestling real brothers now, but then before they were just wrestling brothers, Right? So stupid.
Move this shit forward.
Bro, I'm thinking some of the dumbest shit. This is why the show's so long. I'm bringing things to the dumbest shit. We can move on, man.
So up next, we got Shawn Spears against Scorpio Sky. Call me crazy. I kind of like this. Look, I like Shawn Spears. I love the bottom of the card. He'll give it. He got a win. I was shocked he got the win here because he it seems like Sky was going to roll over him, but I guess they're going to make us wait for Sky to get that win over him. But yeah, what'd you think of this?
This was one of the worst acts of dumb babyfacery I've seen this year. It's not the worst. Like, I still got Darby losing because he couldn't move because he was too exhausted after getting, tilted. And then Tam in the center of the tournament throwing Nascatora out through the middle ropes in a over the top rope elimination. So, like, those are the two worst that come to mind.
He also didn't stare at a video board for minutes at a time while his tank was crushed.
Yeah, but at least she got school. I think she got schoolboyed. Yeah, so like there are definitely worse. But this was still just bad as like this person that has been fucking with you. Their manager hands you a weapon. You discard the weapon. It was a distraction, and it allowed him just to rock you with a weapon he always keeps on his fucking hand. It's like, all right, man. All right. And they were putting him over as like, Scorpio as he has the third most wins in AEW history so far, behind only, I think, Cody and Kenny Omega. And I was just like, and then they do that to the boy. And I was like, damn. All right. Well, like all the matches, all the wins on Dark that both of them twos racked up, and I don't know. Like, I don't think I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. Like, maybe it was just because of the match got postponed by a couple weeks or whatever else. But like something, it wasn't like some really good match or anything. It was just kind of there, and it was like I don't know if I was expecting more or what, but it was just like that happened, and that finish is like.
I think they've got to have him come back from this and then figure out. Yeah,
please come back and get your win back, because that was not optimal. Like, if that's the end of it, then you should never done it.
Yeah.
Like, so we're building Sean Spears, not Scorpio Sky. That's what we're doing in That's what we're doing in AEW. What the fuck's going on? Like,
yeah, I feel like Scorpio's probably going to come back and either challenge him to some no rules match, or like Tully's banned from ringside, or you can't wear the glove or something like that.
That's the new thing.
Gets his own glove.
Like Tully got banned from the Young Bucks match last weekend. That's the new thing. Just ban Tully from every match.
Tully. Tully, you gotta get the fuck out.
Tully needs a shirt. Tully needs a shirt like, I've banned Tully, or Tully's been banned, or some shit, or you can't ban me. Get in on his PWT money.
Yes. Then they announced the tag match for next week. And these guys have done some like really cool promos, like looking like it's Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling. Both Cody and Cody and Ricky Starks have done them. And it has Tony Schiavone with the extra long microphone. It's like 80s out. Like it's really cool. They put them on Twitter.
Okay.
So after that, they cut to Dasha, who said she was sitting with Kenny for an interview, but Kenny was about that bitch. And then they cut to Alex Marvez in the parking lot, who caught Kenny as Kenny was headed to the plane, wherever the hell he was flying. And then he asked for Kenny's thoughts on being the next World Championship challenger. And this was my favorite Kenny Omega promo since the last time he talked about Moxley.
You like this more than the one he did going into the Hangman thing when he's in the fake rental house?
Yes.
They're both good promos.
Yeah, I like this one more.
Okay.
He said that he needs to live up to the championship standards of Kenny Omega that we saw in New Japan. The guy that was given the 5, 6, and 7-star matches. He said he's ready to reassume the responsibility of being the world champion. He's done being an afterthought. And basically was like the thing that you took from me, Moxley, is, you're the number one guy that's taught about it in wrestling and on the magazines and all that other stuff. But I checked, and there's no record of us ever fighting before, despite our previous encounters. So yes, Kenny is a subscriber to it. So I thought this never happened. He said this is our first official match. It's 0-0, and basically he's gonna win. He's gonna give it to him. And I thought this felt like, damn, they're flipping the switch on this guy. I didn't see them, like, I just thought it was going to be a longer kind of thing, and it just felt like, ooh, a big fucking match is coming between Moxley's promo. Both of them exuded quiet confidence, I feel like, and it was just like, yeah, I'm ready for this fucking thing here.
What I like so much about it is, without going into the details of what happened the last time they've had a match, like, they explain to you in simplest terms that, like, they've had a run-in before, right? Like, they cut promos in a way that, like, you wish, like, WWE would, to where they don't, like, talk about things that, like, just run in total opposition of what they've done before, but not necessarily even, like, go through the real details of what happened before. So, like, he said, like, earlier in the show, Moxley says, like, you don't really get to beat Kenny Omega 2 times in a row. That's really fucking hard. And then, what he said, but, like, it takes a special individual, and I believe myself to be that individual. And then you go to the Omega thing, and he's like, you took something from me when you beat me. And, like, I'm here for the receipt, bitch. Like, I really like that. Like, they've done look, is Moxley going to pull out another Feud of the Year contender?
Depends. So they announced that there's a contract signed between these two next week, and they're going to be face to face. So, I could go for, the big sit down like Kenny did last time when he was talking about Moxley flamed him for 3 minutes. But
and another thing about
I want to see these guys, like, go at it, like, and just talk about their philosophies on shit. Cause I feel like that's the, it's very successful when you do that. Ask Hiroshi Tanahashi and Kenny Omega.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Yeah. So the contract signing's on, like, the 18th, right?
It's the next show. Yep.
Yeah. So it's like, they have, like, 2 weeks after that, 2 or 3 weeks to get to December 2nd. So, like, they're, I don't know what else is on that card, because I know, like, I believe next week's Dynamite is also pretty loaded too, right?
Yeah. We'll get to it.
They're setting these things up pretty well. They're setting these up.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about it yet, but what do you think of, like, their new, like, graphic layouts and their new intro?
I like the new graphics. I missed the intro, but I need to check it out because, like, my stream, I didn't get it up in time. Okay. But I saw, I think I saw, like, a little, like, GIF on Twitter. It was like, it looked like it was a higher quality. They shot it, like, say, especially for the intro. Yeah. It wasn't like a sliced up thing. Yeah. To me, it just kind of represents, like, progression. Like, it's the next year of this thing.
Yeah, I don't know if I liked. I think I like the montage of, like, the great moments in recent AEW memory that was splashed across the intro from before, but it's not as bad as, like, I like the nods to big moments or whatever else that they had, but I do like the new graphics changes. I do like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So Kenny and Moxley, let's get it. Are these guys, like, going to be, like, is this match for more than the AEW championship?
Like, is it for who's the ace?
Yeah, like, ace, wrestler of the year, like.
I think. I think Kenny's too far behind in the promo and program category as far as, like, great builds, and not to say that, like, Kenny hasn't, because he has, the Hangman stuff and he has the Young Bucks thing, but it just feels like the Moxley thing just in your forefront every week when he comes out, every week and has a good ass promo like every single week. It's like it kind of overwhelms. Like, but obviously, you know, Omega hasn't beaten the in-ring department, but you know, maybe if this was September, but I think by the time we get to December, most people might be made up.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. So up next we got Tay Conti versus Red Velvet. Red Velvet officially signed with AEW as well. So this one went about 8 minutes. I thought this was all right. Told a nice little story, and it was I think Red Velvet showed more than she's ever shown, I want to say, in some of her short squash matches. And there was a story of Anna Jay trying to get Tay Conti to cheat.
Right.
This is AEW, like, you look at all these women that are surrounding this match. Brandy's out there, Anna Jay's out there, Tay's out there, Red Velvet's out there. You can start seeing the foundations of like a rebuilt kind of division like taking off, and then like they it's I ain't gonna say it. I ain't gonna say it, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was too bad. I thought it was a fine match. I was just kind of almost like surprised that this more of a match I thought it would be more fitting to be on Dark than be on Dynamite. So I was kind of like, where's Nyla? Where's Britt? Where's Sheeta? Where's Swole? But whatever. Yeah, so Tay Conti ended up getting a win after a couple near falls by Red Velvet. She gave her a pump kick and a gory special transition into the knee strike. Her finish was raw. So Alex Marvez after that caught up to Jericho and MJF in the rest of the Inner Circle. Sammy Guevara said, "Hey, what the fuck? You sent me an email to go to the beach, but what the fuck's going on here?" MJF was like, "Nah, I sent it." And then Sammy was like, "Nah, that's bullshit." And he was like, "Hey, I sent you another email." And then it was like, yeah, whatever. Right. I was like, at this point, after watching that match that I was not expecting, and then that was clearly put in the death slot for Pentagon versus Phoenix, and then you get this, I was like, hey man, I don't give a fuck what's in Sammy Guevara's email. He should be dead anyway. Bring out Pentagon and Phoenix. I was like, bro, I don't care, bro. I don't. Just bring the match out. Bring out the main event. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry. So they replayed the Best Friends and Sabian and Miro angle from last week. They announced Kip Sabian versus Orange Cassidy next week to go with the Bucks and Top Flight. That tag team match and the face-to-face with Moxley, or the contract signing with Moxley and Kenny, and maybe something else. I can't remember. But after that, Eddie Kingston came out and cut a promo. Said he knows his name. Stop cheering for him. This shit was funny. So even though he said he quit, he will never stop wrestling, and he will become the world champion. And then after that, Pentagon and Phoenix were next, and they both entered to the same music. I will never retire. Oh, that's the Ric Flair. That's Ric Flair, but look, neither one of them forever. Yeah. So after that, Penta and Phoenix, it was quite funny that one of them made their entrance with the music. They went to commercial. They came back. The same music was playing. And I laughed. And I was like, I see what you did. You went to commercial knowing that, thinking that people would forget that they have the same fucking music, and you didn't run it right back. Like, yep. I thought that was pretty slick to kind of not just run into the stumble into the, Lucha Bros, Mesa King, and then you go, Lucha Bros, and right there. Like, I thought it was pretty slick, but when you're watching it, not on commercial break, you're just watching the show, you're like, hey, wait a minute. Yep. And then we got round two fight with Pentagon and Rey Fenix, and this was a totally different match than the last time. Last time it seems like they were going for the more spectacular moves. This one was just like a violent fight. between two brothers who just came out there and ran it.
Yeah.
Ripping at the masks.
Yes. I believe that the first match is more. I feel like these matches symbolize or embody more of the spirit of the person that won, right? So, more spectacular match, Phoenix won. The match that was more physical and dangerous, Penta won. Real shocker there. So I like that the themes of both matches in like, I do like where they're headed with the like is Kingston so toxic that is going to fracture the relationship between the Lucha Bros? Like, is this man that is he that like just toxic? So that was an interesting story that the
NBA trade
had going on.
Drew Holiday to the Bucks for Eric Bledsoe, George Hill, and draft considerations.
Okay, so I believe that does change
that helps the Bucks.
Ceiling for the Bucks, right? That changes their ceiling. As long as Drew can stay healthy for fucking once, or not for once, but like he's been in like the last couple of years.
It's gonna be a great defensive unit there.
And Bledsoe was not great, but a very good defender on his own right. But he can't do the things offensively that Drew can do. So as far as a secondary facilitator or someone you put the ball in his hands and get move Giannis off the ball or turn Giannis to a roll man. So that does change their trajectory. Would I pick them over the Heat if they ran into the Heat again? I'm not sure, but it is closer now. So, good pickup for them. Do I think they're going to be... I don't think they're going to try as hard in the regular season, but like they have the past couple of years, but still.
Breaking news. Drew McIntyre has won back the WWE Championship.
Okay, so we're going to get Drew McIntyre versus Roman at
Survivor Series. So we get the babyface versus heel dynamic. Okay. So Randy Orton stole a 14 title ring.
No, I would say he stole when you get to 15 when like he runs in on Sunday to screw up, to get an easy way out to not beat McIntyre or Roman.
Oh my God.
Sunday. And then you get the TLC match, and then like Randy probably wins it right back, and then get.
Oh my God! Yuck.
See, like, do you remember
thinking the ways to fuck us?
You remember Blue Streak with Martin Lawrence, where he's like, he was like, they think I'm a cop. I was like, bro, I was like, see, you have to start thinking like Vince. Like, that's how it's like, he ain't gonna give you no finish between Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns. He don't want to beat either one of them.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Hey man, I'm gonna just say this. John Silver, there was the biggest title change of the day, did not happen, in WWE. John Silver won the BTE championship today. And I don't know about you, man. I don't know if you know this right now, James, but the BTE championship was booked exactly like the IWGP championship for Wrestle Kingdom, because Silver lost in the finals or whatever to Trent, and out of the kindness of Trent's heart, he was given a match this week, and they played flip water bottle or whatever, and he ended up winning it. But much in the way, Kota Ibushi was given this title opportunity by Tetsuya Naito out of the kindness of his heart. So, BT world title, IWGP belt, same thing.
Oh man. Okay, so what is... Oh, we were talking about the main event of
Pentagon and Phoenix.
Yeah, man. Like, they started ripping the mask. they got to the spot, like, just the package power driver on the apron, I was like, whoa, what are they doing? What are they doing? You know, I feel like between the Lucha Bros and Kenny, like, every week, like, I'm asking, like, yo, what are they doing? Why are they doing this on TV? Why are they doing this on free TV? So, another great match, another match that I'm, you know, somewhere between 4.25 and 4.5 on. Pentagon has racked up three absolute bangers in a row in the past, I think that's 4 weeks. You know, I'm glad to see it because that dude does this, and so does his brother, and it was baffling me that, like, they were not being used to their capabilities earlier in the year, even with some of the stuff going on with the pandemic. But I guess we get to the post match stuff.
Yeah, I thought it was a great match. Also,
yeah.
It was like, you know,
I could watch.
It's always funny when you. It's always funny when you see Ray Phoenix's mask get ripped and you see that bald head underneath, because it's like, man, I don't picture Ray Phoenix to be bald, but I guess.
Or better yet, like when he gets retaliation and he rips Pentagon's mask, and Pentagon, he did. I mean, I feel like I know what Pentagon looks exactly like now. Like, he ripped that shit. I'm like, okay, you take a still right now, I can ID that man if I wanted to. But like,
Pentagon can fix the shit out of your car. I promise you. He will hook you up. He lives around the corner from you.
I'm not like. Let's move on, bro.
Look, I have met Pentagon in my life. Like, so after that, Kingston grabbed the mic. He congratulated Phoenix or Pentagon, and then he slightly kicked Ray Phoenix out the ring, like he was kicking some trash. Yeah. He said, "Hey, your brother, you don't need that dead weight." And he's like, "This time's a motherfucker trying to break up brothers. Look at this guy."
I'm telling you.
And then the returning Pac came out and said the bastard is back, and Kingston made a bad mistake, and I feel like everyone's cheering and very happy. Then all the geeks ran out and keep them from really running it, but it's clear that there is smoke. And then they announced his in-ring return next week. Pac will face the Blade, and there's smoke here.
Yeah, man. Excited to see Pac back. Pac actually, that's one of the things I got spoiled on. But I'm so happy to see him. If I had been unspoiled, I probably would have popped huge for it. But happy he's back. He's one of my very favorite wrestlers in AEW and in the world. So I just think the dude's just like so. His body control, his skill, pacing, like dude's just. He's a dude that's like, he almost never makes any mistakes ever. It's like just this level of excellence there. So like, I'm glad he's back. And there's tons of matches for him to have because he's been gone for so long. So, can't wait to see what they have next for him, and hope they move him right back to the same slot he was before. He was like, one of those, top of the card type guys. So, can't wait.
I hope
to go rip it
make
up,
that Death Triangle theme and just throw it away. So like, I'm hoping the Death Triangle like reforms, and then you get Kingston, Butcher and the Blade, and then you give Kingston one other guy. Like you give him like some heel that you're trying to get going, and you put him in there.
Maybe I'm not. I don't know. Like because like if I had a dream match for AEW, for me, like number one might be Pac versus Phoenix. So. Anything like I'm willing to unmarry anything that can get me that match. So I'm not like, so if they end Death Triangle's a thing, cool. But if it ain't, you can run Phoenix and Pac for me real quick. I'll be really, really, really happy. So whatever y'all want to do.
Yeah, but that was the Jacksonville show.
Oh boy, this Orlando show. Start the show.
I know nothing about it, so I haven't heard any reviews.
Oh my god!
So inform me.
So the Jacksonville show starts with a tribute for Veterans Day. Was Veterans Day or Memorial? No, Veterans Day. So, Johnny comes in and he's like, playing off the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's one thing I know.
Yeah. So Johnny playing off the I hate the will, I love the will thing. He won the match, got the North American title, so he loves the will. So he has his own makeshift will. On it has names like Roderick Strong, Loomis, Priest, Ciampa. I saw a still of the picture of Ciampa and I was like, what the fuck is Ciampa doing on this list? Don't you dare let that shit roll on Ciampa.
Yes, man.
And then written in makeshift writing, it says Leon Ruff. So he spins the wheel and the person he talks about how, I've had bad luck, I've been cursed, talked about how first defense for North American title, he lost to the Velveteen. First defense for the NXT title, he lost it to Adam Cole. He should have reversed the curse. So any lucky person that this will stops on gets this North American title shot, so I can reverse the curse. He spins it. That thing spins, stops, goes back up, and it goes teeters, totters. Obviously, like it's a magnet and metal situation. Clearly, and it stops on Leon Ruff. Leon Ruff comes down. He has generic music, more generic than the average NXT person's music. He's just happy to be there. He gets in the ring with Johnny. Johnny, you see the Jonathan Gargano big man offense at times. He does a gorilla press slam. He throws him around a little bit, throws him into the barricade, and then all of a sudden he sees Damian Priest. So Damian Priest at one point is behind the plexiglass, and Johnny's antagonizing him outside on the ringside area. So then he turns his back towards Ruff, who's I think back in the ring. And then and by that time, Priest goes to a the open area where the camera facing the hard cam, because he's right next to that. And he turns around, he doesn't, and he sees that Priest's moves, and Priest actually get him, so he kind of is shook. So he goes back into the ring, he beats up Ruff some more, and then he keeps John over at Damian Priest until Priest ends up distracting him, or not on purpose, whatever. It was just Johnny's a dumbass, and Leon Ruff rolls Johnny up with a schoolboy, and he pins Johnny Gargano to become the Adam Cole, Ricochet, Johnny Gargano, Velveteen Dream, Roderick Strong, Keith Lee, Damian Priest. Gargano's 2-time. So to become the 8th NXT North American champion, Leon Ruff, a guy that's only person that's only been only wrestled one time or twice since he's been signed to WWE, and both times he got completely fucking destroyed. He's North American champion.
Johnny Gargano is a goddamn loser.
Yep. And the worst part about it isn't what
Isn't
they
this
did
being played like a joke too?
It's being played like a joke. Well, let me phrase this. But the joke isn't Leon Ruff, it's really Johnny, but the problem is this belt has been fucked with ever since Keith Lee threw it away, because he got the better belt. So since basically June, this belt has been a mess. You gave it to Damian Priest, you took it off Priest for Halloween Havoc, and it seems like ultimately you changed it to Johnny Gargano so you could put it on Leon Ruff, so that next week Finn Balor can come and tell us I have to give this fucking the real belt up, so we're going to have some type of tournament or some type of series of matches or whatever else, and Damian Priest and Johnny Gargano are free from the North American title picture, so they'll throw them right into the NXT title picture. So I don't know what the fuck they're going to do with that or whatever else, or what the outcome is involving, or what considerations that was for, you know, Balor and his health or whatever else with his jaw. But, sorry. But this just killed the belt. They just destroyed the belt. They destroyed it.
Yikes.
What do you mean to tell you? Like, they destroyed the fucking belt.
So, like, Johnny Gargano, like works
too.
in Sasha Banks now. Because Sasha Banks actually defended the belt.
Yeah, but she never jobbed to, like, people that are jokes. Or jobbers. Like, she lost to Alexa Bliss, who, you know, say what you want to about her ability in the ring, but she is somebody that is popular to viewers. Lost to other horsewomen like Charlotte, a lot to Charlotte. But she never lost to, I don't even know who to say. A Zelina Vega, a Riot Squatter, I guess. This was,
and I'll say this: Leon Ruff, very talented guy, can wrestle
absolutely.
can like do much more than he's shown.
Yeah.
So far, like as far as like getting squashed, like
he's one of the best jobbers in the world.
Yeah, he's a guy that can do the super indie style. That's you know everything. Like he can do that. If they let him do that, that's cool.
I hope that's the case. I hope they don't turn this into a joke, but it looks like a joke right now.
Right, it smelled like a joke. It looked like a joke. It feels like a joke. Do you even know what Leon Ruff's voice sounds like?
No.
Okay.
No.
I just was checking.
No. I mean, I know what his screams sound like, but I don't know what his voice sounds like. You know, when they are getting fucking crushed by, you know, Austin Theory or somebody. Yeah, I know what that sounds like, but nah. Yeah, he's
North American belt. Fun times.
Yep. So then from there, we end up getting a earlier in the day footage of Atlas on the riding around and getting it, continuing his stalking of Legado del Fantasma from last week, where last week he ran up on them and he ended up pulling out a lead pipe and ended up allegedly cracking or injuring or bruising Mendoza's ribs with the lead pipe. So this week they asked him, "What are you doing in the parking lot?" And he's like, "Look, bruh, you already know what time it is. Midnight Riders. The chase is, I'm out here trying to single out. I'm trying to take out Wild and Mendoza for my match." So he runs up again. He takes out Wild. So Wild and Mendoza both have busted up ribs from this lead pipe. So because he has a title, a NXT Cruiserweight title match coming up right now against Phantasma or Santos. So he gets his
Bro, they need to do a mockumentary on the NXT parking lot. talking about how dangerous it is and stuff like that.
It is, yeah, it's danger. So Atlas comes down to the ring. He has new entrance music. So it's not generic sounding nonsense anymore. Generic sounding, I don't know, dub stuff anymore. So that's cool. Down comes Santos, and guess who's with him, Rich? That's right, the guys that he was beating up with those pipes, so they were still down on the ringside any goddamn way. So they have their match. Lots of chopping, lots of strikes. Good match. They come back from commercial break, and during the commercial break, they showed us during the commercial break that Atlas came off the ropes and they both tripped his feet, so the ref tossed both of them out. Right. So by the end of the match, Atlas gets one or two near falls. He goes to the top rope to go for his DDT. Santos catches him, and then he hits his Angel Wings knee face breaker thing off his knee and gets the pin. And I was like, so you had this guy beat up the heaters that for Santos's heaters to keep them from interfering in the match. They still showed up and still interfered in the match. Luckily, the ref caught them this time and they threw them out. So he has him to himself 1-on-1 and he still fucking couldn't get the job done. Alright. Alright.
This is how babyfaces die.
Yeah.
Hopefully he comes back.
I guess. So,
did he lose absolutely clean, or was it like?
Oh, he lost clean sheet.
Oh, in that case, I mean, at least they get everyone out. At least he was dumb. Like,
at least he was dumb. That ain't no out.
Not just whoop or whatever.
So, I think, yeah, so backstage, Ruff comes back to the back and everybody's so happy for him, and Priest says, hey man, if I were you, I'd get out of here because Johnny's gonna come out, gonna be 38 hot, he's gonna come whoop your ass. So, look, here are my keys, is the black challenger, go ahead and get out of here. So, Ruff with the belt and nothing else but the belt and a set of keys, no ID, no cell phone, no gym bag, no other set of clothes, just leaves out the building. And out comes Johnny. There are a bunch of refs. There is Regal. He loses his mind. He blows his stack. He says it wasn't a real match. It was fake. It was a joke. This cannot stand. It was a joke. Regal says, go away until you cool off. And that was that. He also got into it with, Priest at the Priest was antagonized about how he's a loser. So, there's also that. So, we go backstage.
Johnny coming there with that short man anger.
Yeah. There was some of that. There was definitely some of that play. So, we go somewhere else backstage, and it's Dexter Lumis drawing up a picture of him, not him, but of Grimes running away from the zombie ref from 2 weeks ago during that Halloween match. So, then we end up getting a video package from Candice, it's not Candice, I was like Candice because of Candice and Shotzi. It's a replay of Shotzi, of Candice destroying Shotzi's tank, and then you see it's basically interweaved both of them talking about what happened with the tank. Candice is still getting her jollies off of destroying the tank, telling her how to destroy her mentally. And Shotzi talks about how I got this tank in deference to my relatives that are overseas in the military. Show pictures of some of her family members and some of her family members in military gear or whatever else, and talked about how, like, you know, I don't just want to get even. I want to kick your ass. So then we end up getting Raquel Gonzalez coming out to the ring because a couple weeks ago or last week, Xia Li asked for a match because she's getting influenced or blackballed by somebody we don't know yet. So Raquel comes down to the ring, and like I said, a couple weeks ago with Xia, she was getting bad news from Boa. You've seen Boa in NXT on the Largo Loop. Boa was in the 2019 breakout tournament with like Garza and ACH and Swerve and Loomis, like right after TakeOver 25, or going into TakeOver 25, I think. So anyway, but he hasn't really been used except for this role. So he comes down to the ring and says, "I'm sorry, Xia Li's not here to fulfill the match that she wanted from a couple weeks ago or from last week. I'm sorry. All peace and love, no disrespect, none of that." Raquel's not hearing it because she got caught up by Lolo Xia, so she says, "All right, well, you're the messenger. I guess I'll kill you." She proceeds to beat Boa's ass from pillar to post. She ends by lifting him up and hitting him with her, her like one arm power bomb, and she leaves mad. So as she leaves, the lights go out, or half the lights go out. There's like red light flashing around. All of a sudden, the Thunderdome in the whatever version of the Thunderdome they have in the PC, it goes black. All of a sudden, once it goes black, you see a white dragon graphic of a white dragon flying through, going from right to left on this thing, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't know what this is, but it is just as bad. But it's exactly the thing I thought it was. Oh, you're doing two things to two Chinese people. You're about to do something involving some type of ridiculous stereotypical bullshit. So what?
So like, are they gonna like bring out like Juntao from Rush Hour next,
bro?
And like,
they cut to the ramp, and there's some older Asian man.
Shane Sung out there. I did just buy Mortal Kombat over the weekend. Mortal Kombat 11.
You're not helping, Rich. You're not helping.
You know Liu Kang is a zombie now?
No. I did not know this.
So is Katana.
Hey man, can I finish this?
Hey, they doing Mortal Kombat. I'm in. You know. So they niggas going to the Outworld?
No, I don't think they're going to Shadowloo either. Anyway, no, is it Shadowloo?
Shadow Realm.
No, I'm thinking Shadowloo is like the shit that's M. Bison from Street Fighter. I'm mixing up video games. Anyway, but yeah, Shadow Realm is one of them. So some elderly man in a suit walks down, and he hands Boa as these lights are going off, you see Boa like not freaking out, but kind of like, oh no, like he knows what's coming, but we don't know. Old man comes down to Boa, walks up on him, hands him a letter very similar to the letter that Boa handed Xia weeks ago. And all of a sudden, after he hands the letter to Boa and Boa sticks his hand out, the old man puts his hand on the the outside part of Boa's hand, and he gives him some type of like mark with some type of like smut or black marking or whatever else. And it's supposed to be, I imagine it's supposed to be some Chinese symbol that I obviously don't know because I don't speak the language or know it, or so. And then he walks away, and they're like, what does this mean? What is going on? I'm just like, I don't care, bro. What the fuck is this? This looks like BS to me, Triple H. So, anyway, that happened. So they cut backstage to Austin Gray. If you don't remember, Austin Gray is the first dude from the live Thatch Can videos that Thatcher took advantage of. He blew his stack, and then Thatcher whooped his ass at the end of the day. And then by the time the second person Thatcher abused in the next week's version of Thatch Can came around, Austin came in and cleared Thatcher out the ring. So they tried to interview the Austin dude, and Thatcher saw him in the building, immediately put that man in the jump zone and whooped his ass. And then they broke it up. I'm sorry, whooped his ass, and as he's whooping his ass, he threw Thatcher threw the Austin dude into Loomis's drawing of the zombie ref chasing scary ass Grimes. So after they crash it through that, whatever else, Loomis shows up like on the spot. He turns around. Thatcher's like, "Whoa, you kind of got me." And then they lock eyes, and then it was made into a match: Loomis versus Thatcher. Now, keep in mind, like, we got some Loomis versus Thatcher when we had that one qualifier that had Finn Balor involved, where at the end of it, Thatcher
Loomis chokes out Thatcher.
Right, because Thatcher had Balor in a heel or some type of heel hook or whatever else, and then Loomis swooped in behind him and choked him out. Yes. So,
submission artist Dexter Loomis.
Well, you got the artist part right. Nice touch. You could be a WWE writer. So anyway, next match we get Candice LeRae versus Toni Storm, and I'm like, thank fucking God. I've been watching the bullshit I have to watch on this show. Like, I get something good. And they had a good match. I don't know how good, but it was a good match. They basically trade like wrist locks and headlocks and different side headlocks and everything, and takeovers and technical wrestling until Toni demonstrates that she's clearly the more proficient of that stuff. She gets the advantage, gets Candice outside the ring, gets her against the steel steps. Toni comes running in to go give her the ass attack, try to put that thing on her. And Candice moved out the way, so none but all that end up hitting the steel steps, and that's when the commercial break. They came back, and they get to the end and run. They just have a really good finish at the end between trading moves and kickouts. So all of a sudden, I believe the Scream. No. Hold on, let me look through my notes. I am forgetting how this finish went. I don't think they shot what's called any bell, actually. Yeah, okay. I remember what happened. Okay, so they end up in the top after trading through near falls. They end up both on the in the corner. Tony's seated on the top turnbuckle. Candice gets up on the second rope. It looks like she's about to go for her second rope spinning net breaker off the second rope. Toni knocks her down, and she goes for a splash of some type. Candice gets out the way, and Candice ends up getting on top of her and using the ropes as leverage for the 1, the 2, and the fucking 3. It took them 3 matches for them to pin Toni Storm. For Candice LeRae, who has had 2 title shots in the last 3 months, 4 months.
Hey, mind you, she won the last match off of like Shotzi staring at a video board for like 3 minutes.
We're not done. We're not done. So the person in the Scream mask, who we all thought was Indy Hartwell all along, even though they had to put the Scream mask onto the Ghostface Scream mask onto Indy Hartwell, because that wasn't really Indy Hartwell, because Indy Hartwell was in COVID jail for the past couple weeks. So comes down, helps Candice beat up Toni. Actually, no, Toni was furious because she realized Candice used the ropes for leverage. Got in her face. They start fighting again. Then comes Ghostface with the Scream mask on as Indy Hartwell. They beat up Toni. Out comes Shotzi. They beat up both of them individually, and then Indy rips off the Ghostface mask, and it's Indy Hartwell.
I saw that, and I was like, I saw a gift of that on Twitter, and I was like, this was like some of the lamest shit. Like, I'm like, yo, Halloween's over. Like, I don't know.
Well, the real thing is they wanted Indy Hartwell with Candice. Indy ended up in COVID jail. They had these matches that they had to shoot Bell in. They can't just beat nobody. So they used the Ghostface mask so it was Indy, but you can also give them plausible deniability to say that it could be Johnny helping Candice and it could be Candice helping Johnny while they both have masks on. But it's like, you already shot this shit. We know it's Candice. Or not, we know it's Indy that's helping them. So, whatever. So you already know it's going to be, they're going to have some tag match in the next couple weeks between Tony and Shotzi versus Indy and Candice. But I was like, wow, they beat Tony Storm in the third fucking match. It's someone that they beat all the time. Or someone they have no problems beating. That's a better way to put it. So, they ended up getting a promo from Breezango. They said that, we worked 5 years in this company, and we finally got belts, and they were taken away from us over some bullshit, and there's no more fun and games. We're not playing no more. And we're getting our titles back. Come back from commercial break. Thatcher versus Loomis. This was boring as fuck, and this was the least Loomis stuff I've ever seen in a Loomis match, and it still sucked. He's not doing the eye bulge stuff or whatever else, but he's still slow. And Thatcher, if he's in there with someone that's not gonna give that oomph back, it could be boring. So, and it was.
So why don't they just call Des or Loomis and then just put him with the Fiend so he can leave this show?
Please do. Get the fuck off. Get the fuck out my indie. I'm tired of this shit. So, yeah, he runs. He does a comeback. He's running wild. He seemingly is about to win the match. Then out comes Grimes. Grimes runs a distraction. It allows it allows Thatcher to get the tap out. Not tap out. He ends up slapping on an arm submission. I think it was like almost like an Gargano escape type of thing. Then he used it to flip him over onto his shoulders and stack him high and get into 1, 2, 3. And then he got the fuck out of there. So then from there, Grimes has his burlap sack and he puts it over Loomis's face because he's not scared of Loomis, except he's scared of his eyes. His eyes are what scares Loomis. So he explains this in a promo later in the show. So he puts the sack over his face and he beats the shit out of him. That's the end of that segment. So, we go backstage. Okay, so we go to commercial break. We come back. Never mind. I'm not even going through that. So we go to Gargano backstage. He knocks on Regal's office and he says, "You know what? You told me to calm down earlier. You're right. I'm calm, I'm cool, and I'm collected." He tells Regal that he wants you to reverse the results. You gotta, that clearly was a rigged wheel that I made.
So Johnny want to stop the count?
So yeah, he trying.
Thinking of new lows.
So he says, "Look, this clearly was a rigged wheel that I made." Well, it's obviously the eye. You watch the thing spin, and bro, I'm telling you, you see my hand on the video. It goes like this, and it goes, and it stops. Wow. Right? It's clearly rigged. It clearly was made for him to get an easy, not face anybody worth a damn, and face Leon Ruff, and he lost Leon Ruff. So he's like, "I rigged the damn thing," or whatever else. He's like, "I rigged it, clearly it's a joke." So Regal's as he says this calmly, he's like, Regal smiles, and he's like, "All decisions are final." And then Johnny blows his stack and does more cussing more yelling and screaming and how he's been, screwed and messed up, blah, blah, blah. And he keeps going off, and then he turns his back for a split second and Regal's closed the door in his face and he starts trying to knock on the door and they go away. So then we get a Ciampa promo. And he says that he's been in this business for 16 years and when he trained with Kowalski and trained with Harley Race, he said that those guys were tough and they didn't have to advertise it, and you just knew. And he says, wait for it, Rich. Wait till I'm finished. This generation in this locker room, they'll tell you that they're tough. Everybody tells you how tough they are. Let's see what the rest of it was.
Old man, get off my lawn promos in NXT.
Yeah.
What?
Rich.
Get this the fuck off my screen.
Rich, this is for their fan base.
Get this the fuck out of here.
Yeah, so he's like,
this is like when Cody does this shit, like when he just goes a bit too far.
It's not even a bit too far. Like, he's clearly pandering towards the olds. Like look, this promo is supposed to be for Jericho. So it's one of those. So he's like, it's not like he basically talks about dogs and their bark and their bite and whatever else. But like, what
last of a dying breed.
Yeah, he did say he's last of a dying breed.
This culture, the 2020 locker room culture.
Yes, that's what made me realize when he said the locker room culture, and I was like, bro, nobody gives. I'm like, I don't know why this has been a thing ever since. Them coming back from Saudi Arabia after the maybe not hostage thing, but nobody that watches their show gives even half of a flying, running, or swimming fuck about their locker room leadership, culture, or dynamic, or any of that. They want to see people that don't like each other, that want other things that the other person has, and want to beat each other's asses over it. It's not this fucking difficult. No one cares, bro. Fuck.
What?
So,
you couldn't pay me to find this interesting. Ciampa needs to retire. Fuck out of here, man. Like, leave, bro.
Like, I just want to wrestle. This part sucks. I just want to wrestle because he's still great at wrestling. But this thing that he's been doing the last, I think either last 2 weeks or two of the last 3
weeks. This is the baby face? Like, get the fuck out of here. Like,
he's baby face to the olds. Anyway, they end up doing one of these, like their 24/7 version of like the stuff they've done over the years with, whether it was Ciampa whether it was Ciampa and Gargano, or whether it was Rhea and Charlotte, or whether it was, Balor and, O'Reilly, or whether it was Gargano and Cole or whatever else. They did it with Io and Rhea. And then they tell us that the match is next week. I could not believe that the match is next week. Like, what is up with these Wednesday shows?
What would they even talk? Look, what would they even talk about? Like, what's happened between them? Like, yeah, we had this match, but then like Charlotte was there too. Like, did they mention Charlotte at all in this thing?
Charlotte was all over it. It was about Rhea. It was mostly about Rhea and Rhea's like she ran into WrestleMania. The pandemic fucked. Like, she was expecting a rush from the crowd in the pandemic. Then in WrestleMania in front of Raymond James Stadium, they played the video footage of when she was actually walking around inside on the grass at Raymond James Stadium. It said like we didn't get none of that. I just got this cold crowd. They showed the video. They showed the highlights of the WrestleMania match, that good ass match they had, and she taps out. They showed the video footage of her like crying after she lost the belt when she said like she was better than I thought, and then they showed the triple threat match, and they showed the moonsault, and then they showed Io winning, and they talked about like Io's been unstoppable ever since she won the belt, but Rhea's also, she beat Mercedes in the cage match, she beat Reina, and she beat Dakota. They didn't mention none of that Robert Stone brand shit. They
had her doing for fucking months.
They just mentioned the Mercedes cage match. They mentioned the Dakota Kai match, and they mentioned the Raquel match. How she beat 3 quality people to get back to this point. And And they also showed, like, you know, the ladder match with Io and Candice, the Shotzi Blackheart match, the Dakota match, and just like, oh, Dakota's eating L's by all the actual real people that win in this division. But interesting. So, and then he talked about how, like, the difference between them is, like, they showed, like, Io meditating and talked about how, I think it was like, I stay even keel more or less or whatever else, and she runs off at the handle and she gets emotional, like she fucking cried if she lost the belt or whatever else. And that's the reason that our difference in mindsets is what sets us apart, whatever else, and like, we're gonna collide. It was good, but I still can't believe they're doing this match on free. I mean, same thing with the Io, or not the Io, but the Moxley and Omega thing.
Well, NXT should do everything on TV because, like, you pulling people to the network. No, they should just put everything big on TV.
If you're going to have takeovers and build them as these things that people need to watch, then like you're going to have, what the fuck is your biggest match? Your biggest match right now is Io versus Rhea. Until, like, you know, whatever happens with Undisputed and what's it called, and McAfee Goon. But those are your two biggest matches that you have right now that you're disposing. You're just blowing it off. I won't say just blowing it off on TV, but like you're giving it away on TV, quote unquote, giving it away on TV. So I was just surprised that both of these things happened. I was like, all right, but it's happening happening next week. So I'm assuming that's the main event. I don't know what the fuck else it could be. So out comes McAfee Goon. Cuts a promo talking about how he shits on wrestling fans, the wrestling internet community or whatever else. He says that he was on a private plane. He flew here. He's been here since the tropical depression came through Florida last week. He said that that bitch almost landed. He said that shit was coming down sideways. He had to turn that bitch upright or something like that. And then he said, like, a few other things, you know, what did he say? Oh, I think he called Lorcan and Burch the greatest tag team of all time. He talked about, check out my man Pete Dunne's work. They showed the video of him, you know, slamming the door in Dane's face and then kicking the door into Dane's face and the blood. And he says, look at this, you know, look at this freaking psychopath, Pete Dunne. Have you seen Pete Dunne's physique change?
Yes.
Okay, so have you seen how orange he is now?
I don't really be noticing that.
That boy is orange. So anyway, he's on the Randy Orton program, the Dolph Ziggler program. So anyway, he says, like,
hey, nice of him. I mean, that man's from the fucking UK. Like,
so anyway, McAfee points out how he put the chair, he beat the hell out of O'Reilly with the chair and says that, like, he murdered that dude. And then he said put the chair against his back, dead. Slams or kicks the door into Dane's face, dead. He's out here killing dudes. I love it. More or less something like that. It was funny, but then you know, they basically give way to the title match, to tag title match. It's Breezango versus Lorcan and Burch. Match is there. They start brawling on the outside. It's basically tall guys in Fandango in Lorcan versus the not tall guys, which they're paired off, and that's Breezango and Burch. Basically, the match is going along, and then all of a sudden they end up outside, and McAfee's on commentary. Your boy Dunn is standing next to him, just standing there, and one of the baby faces throws one of the heels into basically like in between Dunn and McAfee without actually hitting either one of them, but like McAfee sold as if he got hit. It was a botch. So they come back from commercial break, and by that point in time, Dunn is now like up on the ring. So, long story short, he starts running interference, and saved Dunn and Burch. I'm sorry, Lorcan and Burch. They end up hitting them with their not Magic Killer, but it's a DDT off the Magic Killer setup. They end up getting the win, and then they just talk shit and they go to black. So
Fun times.
on a 2-hour show that was like 5 matches, we got one good match. Yeah. This was are you allowed to give 10-7 rounds?
That would be like a knockdown and like bad blood, right?
I know you can give 10-8s. I don't know if you can give 10-7s, but this was... One was a very good show, one was a bad show. It is what it is. Yeah, but we're up at the 3-hour mark, so I think this time we wrap it up. Like, we probably have to come back on Thursday or Friday and do a preview show for Survivor Series. I don't know who we're going to get for that.
I don't even know what's on it. Jesus.
I don't know who we got to get for that, but we got to get somebody for that, because, like I said, like, I don't even know what the fuck Kevin Owens is doing.
Yeah, bro.
Is he alive?
Is he even on the SmackDown team? I don't know who's on.
He's on SmackDown? I don't even know.
Yeah, he's on SmackDown. I don't know who's on the team though. So there is a pay-per-view Sunday. So I mean, we may be back later this week. So
yeah, Stardom had a Korakuen Hall show on Saturday, and they had a big show in Sendai. In Sendai. Those shows are not up yet, but the week before they had to finish their tag league. I guess it's a tradition where like the last night is just a good night of wrestling. They had 3 quality matches. And at the end, Momo and Azumi win the tournament. On Saturday, and they're facing their stablemates, the tag champions, Utami and Big Saya. So they put that match up immediately, so I imagine it's very good. So can't wait. I haven't watched it yet, but can't wait to see it. But yeah, I guess Thursday we'll give you the full Stardom update.
Yes, sir.
Yep. But that's in the show. Be sure to rate us on whatever app you're using to listen to this with. Check out ProWrestlingTees.com/Social Suplex and get some Social Suplex Podcast Network merchandise. Also be sure to check out the other shows on the network. We have this shows on seemingly, Sundays, but seemingly is like every Monday now. Tuesday.
Keepin It Strong Style is also moving to Wednesdays in the future.
I wonder if that's to avoid us fucking up their funk sway. I wonder. We'll have to ask. But yeah. Wednesdays we have the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Podcast. Every other Wednesday we have Gorman Watches Shit. On Thursdays we have the Grave Consequences Podcast. On Fridays we have 8-Bit Suplex, and on Saturdays we have All Things Elite. Thanks for listening, y'all.
Kenny Omega Hall of Fame, ho.
Later.